Okay. Yo, this is your boy, the Omega Katana here, about to say hello and whatnot. And thank you for tuning in for the podcast today. And today's episodes feature our previous guest, Mr. Behavior of the whole Blacktober episode. So, Mr. Behavior, take it away.
What's happening, man? How are you, bro?
Yeah.
How's it going, guys? What's good? I'm just hanging out here in the Seattle airport. So this is an odd place to record a podcast, but whatever. Why not?
Yeah. Wonders of technology. You can actually do it on your phone and shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on, man? What do we got? What are we chatting
So
about today?
remember what about yesterday about we talked about getting some ideas for the podcast, like some games and what are oh yeah, the one drama about today, these cats are like complaining about your appearance on the podcast yesterday.
Oh man, you want to talk about what is it?
Yeah.
Weapons wheel, I think. I don't
A
want to give these
weapons
guys
orgy
too much credit.
podcast.
Those guys are ridiculous, bro. Like, I mean, it's funny because I was listening to Black Sage just get just dumped on because he doesn't like what Sony's doing with their BLM theme or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, bro, tell these dudes to put me on the podcast right now, so I can talk to them, because it was really legit just him and
a bunch of dudes jumping on him.
Yeah, just also what's his name? Infinite Retro was kind of on Sage's side, but he's white, so they're not gonna listen to anything he has to say, right?
Yeah.
So
sorry to interrupt you, but I got one more thing on the stream. You can keep talking.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. So what's up, Anime Night? What's good, bro?
Hello.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I just got in from checking the mail.
Oh, tight. No worries. You get anything good?
I got 2 packages in front of me.
Oh, sick, dude. What'd you get? Any games? What'd you get? Anime? What'd you get? Oh, dang. What is that? Computer?
Look at the size of this fucking thing.
Oh,
Holy
shit.
Is that a size of figurine, dude? And
yes. Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna see the unboxing.
Yeah.
But anime, I was just telling this guy about yesterday, man. These guys, so basically it was like Omega.
Weapon Loser podcast.
It was basically like Black Sage and Infinite, and then 6 other people who were opposed to their views, right? And wouldn't let them talk longer than 2 minutes. So I get on there. I'm like, yo, Black Sage, tell these dudes let me on there. I get on there and I start talking. These guys literally all they know how to do is insult people who don't agree with them, man. It's wild. So I was just like, bro, you don't have to be cursing at people and stuff.
People can't be civil anymore.
It's so beyond that, man. It's essentially they're talking to me. This guy, I asked him to kind of give me some, because these guys are going with the talking points oh, black people get arrested, blah 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 blah. So I'm like, yo, let me see some of the studies you're looking at. So this guy sends me a Washington Post article, and I'm like, that's not a study. So I looked at the study that was cited in the article, and it wasn't saying anything that what he thought it was saying. So I said, hey, man, let me just bring this up. This is what the study is saying. He can start telling me I'm stupid. I'm like, dude, you clearly didn't read the article. So already it didn't start off on a very good foot. And long story short, I ended up getting kicked off the podcast because he asked me if I believe in white privilege. And I said, no, I think that's bullshit. And he kicks me off the podcast. I was like, I'm not allowed to explain why I don't believe in it. It's pretty wild shit, bro. So this morning I get all these messages in my fucking Twitter DMs and shit, and I'm or my Twitter mentions, and these guys have found me and they're harassing me on Twitter and all this stuff. And I'm just like, bro, like, I wasn't even coming checking for any of you guys, man. You're fucking, like, trying to find me after the fact, bro. Like, what is going on, man? So I don't even know. Apparently, these guys have a lot of support, too. They got, like, a lot. I saw they had a lot of people on Patreon and stuff like that. So I guess a lot of people, agree with them, which is kind of bizarre, in my opinion. But, you know, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
That's
What can you do?
You can't. What'd you unbox, man? What are we looking at right now?
I just see a box and another box and another
You got
box.
another box, dude? What is going on? What is that? I can't see the
I think that's a figurine or something.
It is
nice stuff.
one that was suggested to me by a friend. This is my most expensive one I've ever done,
Very
and
nice.
shipping
Very
really
nice.
almost killed it for me.
Yeah. Damn, that must be like over $100 or so.
Okay, I paid 75 for it and 60 for shipping.
Holy
Damn.
shit, man.
Hey, man, I've spent more money on a single game, so I hear you.
It's my work. Thank goodness I got a free box cutter from work, so I'm happy.
There you go.
Yeah.
And saving me too. This one I just got recently, so oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so anyways, I went to. So are you right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay, so anyways, I went to see him on Twitter this morning, misbehave on Twitter, and people were like going at him like he insulted their little sister or something. And I was like, these dudes are wilding out. They're giving him like Looney Tunes gifts, dancing gifts. They're giving him like raccoon dancing gifts. They're also calling him mean things over an opinion which he wasn't allowed to speak. Like he said, he doesn't believe in white privilege. Which, let me say this right now, I'm not oppressed, so I don't believe in white privilege.
Right, exactly.
What they thinking is mental. I call their behavior mental plantation.
Yeah, it's pretty atrocious. And like the thing about it is like I know that a lot. I mean, it comes from like the the critical race theory nonsense, and like what it is it's like those ideas tend to fall apart once you have like any like real facts or evidence, and like once you start actually like asking questions. And that's why they kicked me off. And that's what I was saying to him earlier. I was like, dude, you kicked me off because you can't debate me on this topic because you know that if you start talking to me, you're going to look foolish.
Exactly, because once you provide the actual facts that's backed up by actual research, they don't know how to counter it because it's like, they're wrong. You bribed them in some shit.
Yeah,
like I have the money to bribe people.
Well, it's like
if I could bribe people, that would be amazing. But like unfortunately, I don't have the funds nor the patience to bribe. Can't even bribe.
The thing about it is a lot of the ideas are just very, they're very surface level. They don't go beyond like here's the thing, like, and one of the things I mentioned yesterday was it's like, look, man, I believe racism exists, yes, but I don't believe the concept of white privilege exists. I think that's really dumb because you can't say, this is what I wasn't about to say. I grew up in the suburbs, man. I live in the suburbs, man. Like I have my own house in the suburbs, dude. Like you can't tell me that like me, somebody who grew up very privileged and still is very privileged, like is less privileged than less privileged than like maybe like a a trailer park kid in the middle of Oregon whose parents like have nothing and like you know what I'm saying, like you can't tell me that I'm less privileged than that kid because he's white. That makes no sense. Like that just doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like there are plenty of white people that are less privileged than me. So the idea that like, and I know what the idea is, these guys are trying to say like, oh, well, somebody's not gonna, be discriminated against because they're white. I'm like, that's complete nonsense too. People I said Rick Moranis just got punched in the face like 2 weeks ago for being white on the street in New York, and he's famous, dude. Come on, like it happens
exactly.
all the time.
It's stupid. Heck, I got blocked just for stating the fact that because there was this one post I responded to, and I'm like, if I were white privileged, I'd be living in a mansion right now, but I'm not. I have a minimum wage job, and I live in a 3 bedroom trailer house, I guess if you want to
Mm-hmm.
call it that.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my fucking privilege?
Well,
Hmm?
so
They can't debate that because they're like,
no.
"Oh,
Well,
you're
so
white. You should be
I'll tell
happy."
I'll tell you where their counter argument for you is going to be. It's going to be, well, white privilege doesn't mean that you're rich, right? It just means that you're not going to
Exactly.
experience discrimination based on the
And
color
I
of your
have been
skin.
discriminated big
And
time.
exactly, that's what I don't agree with, because I know, first of all, look, I'm going to be real with you. Black people can be so racist. Black people can be
That is
so
true.
racist, especially against white people, and even against other black people, like I experienced today, right? But
I was
uh,
the funny story is there was a basketball. I was up at trade school at the time, and they were playing basketball and everything, and I'm like, hey guys, can I join up with the team? I don't care which it is. And they're like,
mhm.
sorry, we don't allow your type. I'm like, bitch. So I just said, well, fuck you guys, and just walked away.
Yeah, well, so that's my thing too. Is it's like, well, when it comes to the whole thing, it started because they were talking about BLM, and like they're like, well, this is a message of we need to be, people need to know that our lives matter. I'm like, okay, look, bro, like, who do you need to prove that your life matters to exactly? Like, who? Why do you need to be accepted? First of all, if somebody doesn't want to accept you, I don't care. They don't accept me. I don't care if black people don't accept me. I don't care if white people don't accept me. I don't give a crap. I'm doing my own thing. If you're not paying me, if you're not putting money in my pocket, why do I give a crap if you like me or accept me? Like, I
Exactly.
don't. So
We're
it's like
just
it
here to
became
live.
this
We're
thing
just
about,
here to live our lives
right.
without being
So it became
bombarded.
this thing about, yeah, exactly. So it became this thing about like, oh, well, that's not what the message. I asked him straight up. I said, what's the message then of that you're trying to push? I said, is it about getting accepted by white people? I think, because if so, I think that that's pretty fucking lame, and that's not something I give a crap about. And they're like, it's not about that. We need to know that our life matters. I'm like, who, who
Exactly.
besides
Like
you needs to know that your
what
life matters,
message are
my
you
guy?
pushing? I mean,
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense.
didn't the civil rights movement already accomplish so
Okay,
much?
yes, it did. It did.
I
And
mean,
you know what
I
the thing
mean,
about it
I
is
look
it's
at it
like
like
these
this,
people act like it never happened. You know?
but it did.
Yeah.
I mean, and Martin Luther King, he is rolling in his grave right now. I can
Oh,
tell you
absolutely.
that he's
Malcolm X
turning
too,
over in his
Frederick
grave.
Douglass.
Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, Zora Hurston, all these people. They're
They're
freaking,
spinning in their graves right now because it's just
yeah.
like, oh, great, what have we done? Where are
No,
these
but
people at?
well, it's what happens when you raise an entire generation or multiple generations on this fucking stupid idea that racism is just going to go away. That somehow we can like
It does.
institute and
And
legislate people
I'm not
into
going to say
like
racism
liking each
exists. It
other.
does in
Yeah,
most aspects. It
of course,
does. I mean,
of course
yes,
it
it's
does.
there, but the fucking people who are sitting at the broadcast desk on the fucking news stations are overblowing everything out of proportion. It's
Yeah.
blown way out of proportion.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But then that's when you get like all these angry fucking people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, like that's what I'm saying. Black people can be super racist, dude. Like I know so many black people that like just don't like white people. For what? For what? What the fuck did that guy do to you, man? He did fucking nothing to you. And also, not only that,
Oh,
in my life, in my
I love the
experience,
fact they play the ancestral card.
yeah, but that has nothing. It's like that has nothing to do with me. Honestly, in my experience, white people have been hella nice to me my entire life.
Oh,
Yes,
Absco
I've dealt with
Mega.
some racism, but like that's about
Yep.
it.
How about
Like,
what Mr. Anime Knight said? Yes, both of my best friends are basically white. Yes, I met some amazing black people, Asian people, Indian people. I met all nice people, different colors and whatnot. But my best two friends are white people, and they're conservatives. To
yeah,
believe it
yeah,
or
for
not.
sure, for sure, for sure. No, I mean, like, dude, honestly, there's a definite difference. I mean, even Michael Metz talked about the difference between like conservatives and white liberals, right? and like how white liberals tend to like pretend that they're the benefactors of the Negro, whereas like the white conservative, if he is racist, is going to
I
be
miss
less. They're not going to conceal it, right? So actually, I kind of like that.
I miss the average liberal. I miss the ones who are super smart, who are down to earth, and can actually debate you in a civil matter. Where are those people at? Like, where are they at?
They don't exist. They're dead, bro.
I would love to debate these people. I mean, but it's the ultra hardcore liberals who are running around doing all this shit. They can't debate worth anything. They'll just scream.
Liberals,
they'll just drop every card in the book.
Yo, dude, literally. Okay, you're exactly right. So you guys know Willie versus?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
if you don't,
So if anybody's listening who doesn't know who Willie Versus is, he's this black guy who does he streams and does a lot of fighting game content on YouTube, and essentially he did a series or started a series about Guilty Gear and the lore of Guilty Gear, and he dropped the first episode pretty recently, and apparently he worked with this guy called Gear Project, or he goes by Blade or Gear Project. And he dropped this episode on Twitter the other day, and all I saw in the comments were just a bunch of people freaking out and calling this guy Blade or Gear Project like every name in the book. Apparently he's a homophobe, he's a misogynist, he's a racist, he's this, he's that, he's that. So I started looking this guy up, and I couldn't find any evidence of him being any of those ISTA folks.
Exactly. Right? They'll just go off and see something and they're offended to be offended. They're that bored. They're that bored. It's like, oh, look at this guy. Let's go. Oh my goodness, this video is racist. Blah blah blah. When there's nothing in that context, nothing in there.
What I understand, the reason why they think that is because he's really into preserving his own headcanon around Guilty Gear, and I think Venom is written as a gay character now or something like that, and he didn't necessarily like that because they changed the character. So he was like, no, he wasn't gay. And I think he said something about that. And people got mad and started calling him phobe. And all of a sudden he's a racist. And I said, look, why would he work with Wooly if he was racist? That makes no sense. Wooly's a black guy.
And plus, I mean, I have nothing. Here's my take. I have nothing against gay characters or Yuri characters. It's been around in anime since probably the late 90s, early 2000s. Right. It's a staple. It's a staple in the anime community. Nothing wrong with it. I'm open for it, and I've even watched Boku no Pico and survived it. Worst anime on the planet, I will tell you that much. Yes.
I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Not interested.
Yeah, I'm good.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna. You guys don't have to watch it. I'm not gonna sit here.
I'm not.
I won't.
But point is, all this shit has been around, and now they're making a hissy fit about it. Like, oh, there should be more. When in fact, we've already had that. We have established characters. Heck, even they're bitching about, oh, there's no more black characters. Bull fucking shit. Black Lagoon.
Well, I don't even care about that in anime. Like, why do I want Japanese people representing black people anyway? That's stupid.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Why would I want
like, look, you can love a character. You can love a character based on where they came from, like their backstory, their character development through a series, what they have, what can they add to the story of a series or a movie. That's all I fucking care about. I want to learn about the guy or girl or whoever. I want to learn, like, okay, where did this guy come from? What's his story? What's her story? How did she become this? How did he become that? I don't give a shit about genders or race or anything. I want to learn about the character, their origins.
I think most normal people don't. I mean, especially like when I was growing up in the freaking 90s, man, like nobody cared about any of that stuff. Like, I would play video games and I wouldn't be like, oh, I need a black character. Like, I would just play Street Fighter and I would pick Ken and it would be dope. Like, I didn't give a crap that Ken wasn't black.
Same here.
You know what I mean? Like, it was cool when they added DJ because my mom's Jamaican and I was like, oh, cool, he's Jamaican or whatever. And then I played him and I didn't like him and I didn't play him anymore. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't I wasn't gonna pick a character because of the color of their skin. That's dumb. Like I can relate
the problem
to
is people
Spider-Man.
are
Peter
pushing.
Parker is one of the characters that I can relate to the most out of like the Marvel universe, at least the original like old comic books of Peter Parker. And he's a white dude.
I don't mind it.
You know?
To me, that's Peter Parker. I don't mind the Fantastic Four being all white, upper middle class, suburban white people.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's Fantastic Four to me.
Yeah,
they are white
exactly,
people,
because
and they're scientists.
Well,
white
they provide
they're so white that they barely put seasoning on their food, and that includes turkey.
Well, they didn't even used to really back in the day. They didn't mention that stuff that much. Like first of all, like Ben Grimm is Jewish. Speaking of the Fantastic Four, right?
Yeah.
Ben Grimm is Jewish. They would no one talks about it. Occasionally, he would say something Jewish, and you'd be like, "Oh yeah, like Rosh Hashanah," like you know what I mean? And like you wouldn't be beat over the head with it though. It wouldn't be like
it's subtle.
Fucking
it's subtle and it goes over your head. It's like, oh, he's Jewish. Okay, then that's pretty cool.
Yeah, right.
But that's the thing though. You learn more about the character with little breadcrumbs.
Right. Exactly. And it's not like the.
But I feel like I also feel like it adds more to the character too.
Right. Exactly. I agree. I mean, it's not like with Miles Morales, right? Like a lot of people didn't like Miles Morales when he first came out. Like the Spider-Verse gave him a little bit more of like a personality, but in reality, when he was first revealed in Ultimate Spider-Man, he was basically just like palette swap Peter Parker, and it's like he's just black Peter Parker, and it's like what like why do we want that really? Like that's just fucking
I would have
weird.
been okay with the alternate universe. I would have been okay with that. Well, I got nothing against Miles. I got nothing against him.
They did that in the 90s though. They had Miguel O'Hara in Spider-Man 2009, and it made sense because he was like Spider-Man of the future. You know what I mean? And he was like, you know, and he was like a way different character than Peter Parker though. Whereas like Miles at first was basically just Peter who was black and happened to have a different name. You know what I mean? But like the fact that they keep doing this and they're like making these immutable characteristics defining of like the characters and like defining of like people, like, oh, we need to have these characters that look like us in order to enjoy this stuff. It's like, first of all, no, you don't. Second of all, if you really do need that, why don't you just create it?
You're gonna alienate the fan base by doing this. And
not the fan base. The fake fan base, you call it.
That too.
Well, they're appealing to the people that won't buy the comics or won't buy the games anyway, right? They're appealing to people that like won't do anything.
If you don't like the comics, then why the hell are you bitching?
Yeah,
exactly. Like if you'll read the comics or watch the movies or anything like that, what right do you have to bitch if it doesn't affect you at all? It's like, are you just there to bitch just to become noticed because you're going about it the wrong way? You're making yourself look stupid. Well, whereas in actual fan, they'll be like, I don't like this change, and they give like specific reasons as to the why, while still maintaining a proper argument. You could make a good argument, or you can make a really shitty one. There's no thin line between that. But however, it's how you go about it. If you go about it like these intellectual morons who just sit there and bitch and throw race card and all that shit, they have no room to argue. But if you have a debate with an actual fan who grew up with the comics, who's seen the movies, who's played the games, you can have an interesting debate with them, and you'll see it from their point of view a lot better, to where you can actually communicate while still being respectful of one's opinion. You don't have to alienate them. If people can just learn to listen and be like, okay, what's your take on this? And you just listen, which is why I do with friends and people that I know. I listen to their take on all things. I may not. Do I agree with it? I can easily agree or disagree, but I can also learn to disagree to agree in a sense.
Yeah.
And we're still friends at the end of the day. We're on with our lives.
Right. Well, I mean, it's because people take. I was having this conversation with my girlfriend the other day, actually. But people take their ideas about things and they make their ideas about themselves, right? They can't separate their ideas from themselves. So if you attack somebody's idea, people get super defensive and they feel like you're attacking or affronting them when it comes to that stuff, instead of seeing it as like, well, maybe, you know, you have a point there, or maybe, or, you know, I disagree with this because, and you can just kind of let bad ideas die and continue to have, you know, progress with better ideas. But people don't do that stuff anymore because they associate their ideas with themselves. It's really fucking weird. It's really fucking weird.
And plus, I mean, it's so sad that they're forcing. This is why I hate like forced like gender swaps and shit like that.
Yeah.
I hate shit like that. Unless if it was already established in like a comic or a manga or a movie or what have you. If it was already established, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. Or it's like, oh, this is the alternate dimension, like Spider-Man 2099. Alternate dimension, dude's black. Exactly. I'm okay with it. It's established. He's of that.
He's Hispanic. He's Hispanic and Irish or something.
Oh, sorry, Hispanic. I apologize. But you get my point, though.
Yeah.
It's
but the thing about it is it's like people act like we're in 2020 right now. Okay, people act like those characters never existed. There was plenty of female black characters. We had Storm, we had Bishop, we had fucking Night Thrasher, we had a ton of characters. So it's like, it's so weird to me that people are like we need representation.
We already have, but the thing is, they don't realize.
What are you talking about?
We already have representation.
Because that proves what we're talking about how it's not that they're not actually reading the comics. They're not actually fans, because if they were, they would know about these characters. They only know about the surface level characters because they're only watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? They're only watching the TV shows. They're only like they're only going with like the bare minimum. They're not actually involved in this stuff. I mean, this is what we're talking about, comics in particular, but even with video games, like there has been representation of all types of people in video games since freaking Street Fighter 2. That came out in 1992. Like, come on. Like, what are you talking about?
These people, they just jump in and bandwagon. They just bandwagon on the current trend. They just hop in on it without even reading what's really going on. It's like, oh my goodness, let's attack this person, or let's jump on the hate train of this with no context. Half of these arguments I've seen from these insane people, they have no context at all, like none. They base it on a stupid idea or some kind of already spoon-fed argument. They can't base it on their own. They have to they have to literally go and have someone else tell them how to think.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're freaking fake, for example. They can't even think for themselves. Number one, and number two, those people desire power and fame without any respect. Like the podcast yesterday, people like complaining, like they want to be in an orgy or a therapy session to be more family friendly, but
that's what you said earlier. Yeah, it was like it's kind of like a therapy session for those guys.
Yeah, because basically, if you want a debate or discussion, let everyone speak. The reason why I'm silent on my own podcast because you're the guest of the dimension, you two. I'm not going to talk over you or tell you to shut up and have like 2 freaking minutes of time. We're not having commercials, or we're not on television.
Right. Precisely. Yeah. That was a huge problem yesterday for sure. Those guys like didn't let anybody talk. As soon as they like disagreed with their positions, they would go on these long diatribes.
Oh yeah, that was horrible. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Let the person speak.
Yeah. And you saw that yesterday, Anime Night? About that,
I felt insulted. Yeah, like I'm like I know better people who have podcasts and streams who actually let their guests talk and voice their own opinions. This is not that. It's just like
people in general, man. They don't let anybody talk.
Yep,
and you got
it's become a giant joke. It was a giant joke yesterday.
It was a giant joke. Not just that. It's not just a joke, but it's also like a close-minded group of people that are just got into gaming besides Black Bond that just got into game by the PS3, Xbox 360 era, and all the famous force like arguing about the console wars. This is not the freaking 90s anymore. Every console's like the same and whatnot. And you got all these people say, they do all these same arguments and whatnot, which I'm getting sick and tired of. Like, it
was funny in the 90s, but now it's just too cringy nowadays.
Too cringy. Black Bond used to make fun of those people. Not anymore. Because let me just tell you, Blackstage was getting dunked on by
he was.
He's like, well, bunch like 4 or 5 people started dunking on because he's a black guy, and that doesn't agree with the black BLM BS thing. Nigga, I saw. Oh, great. I'm going to be sorry about that. Now, who cares anyway? So let me just say this: this whole political BLM thing, I don't give a crap about representation. Stop taking advantage of my people's misery. Stop it. Number one. 100%. And number 2, if you want respect, here's this hadith. Yeah, if you want to have something, if you want something fixed, fix it. Fix within yourself. It's like
100%.
Yeah, just fix it yourself. Look at the whole black community, for an example. I don't care if I'm being a coon right now. Look at the black community. They're like shooting each other. Their schools are horrible. Everyone's like living in poor conditions, like a second-class citizen still.
Yeah.
Why don't improve the schools? Why don't improve? Can I? Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mega. Sorry about that. Yeah. Go ahead.
So why don't improve the schools? Why you don't improve or encourage kids to be embrace education? Why you don't even give flying crap about any positivity? But instead, people want to be freaking rappers and want to be in the NBA or NFL. No, they work hard, but I'm not bashing on them. But I'm bashing on the type of music they listen to. Like, seriously, encouraging gang banging and whatnot. Dude, this is not the fucking 90s anymore, bro.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Because basically, it influences people. My dad, before my dad was a Muslim, let me tell you a short little story, like a minute. He used to like into like music a lot, so he knew about how music works, some of it, like how it influences the mind and how it and that's so on and so forth, like psychiatry and emotional stuff. And they view it as like the gangbanging and whatnot, and the whole themes about it. It used to be like breakdancing and chilling out with friends. Now we just got people want to punch people, want to kill or shoot people, selling drugs are cool. It's actually having an influence on the black youth.
100%. But that was the Omega, you're hitting on it because that was the actual intent of it. There's actually a whole thing about Busy Bone did a whole podcast about this and about how the hip hop industry was subverted by people who saw that music could influence people, and they decided to turn it into something to glorify criminality because a lot of the people who were at the top had money in the prison industry. So what they did was they said, let's go ahead and influence people to be criminals so that we can send them through the pipeline of the prison system, and then we can make money off of those people. And black people totally fell into it super hard. It totally worked. 100% worked.
It worked, and whoever went in line, they got killed or they got drowned out because they're like wonderful rappers and whatnot. And I miss people used to wear those Dr. Seuss hats and wearing those Adidas jumpsuits and doing spray paints and whatnot.
Yeah, and that was radio stuff.
I had seen some. Actually, I was at Walmart earlier. I did see someone wear one of those.
Yeah, it's really dope, man.
I'm just like, wow, I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah,
good on him.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but really,
my main gripe.
Yeah, I'll let you talk because I want to get when I get all hyped up, I get hyped up because basically, I'd say people about this many times, and some people say that about this and that what I just said, and the people get all defensive, man, like telling you you're tripping, man, or are you alright, dude? Like, or some people say, you're acting white because you don't like freaking hip hop. I like hip hop. I like Mad Lib. I like the stuff on Adult Swim and whatnot. I like hip hop beats.
Exactly. I mean, I like Atmosphere and a few other ones. My sister knows some good people, so she has some good taste. But the point is, though, another thing that's pissing me off that's not being brought up is Look at the statistics. I mean, in the black community, another problem is where are the dads at? Hmm? How many people do you know who are with who are with like single mothers and everything? I feel so bad for single like parent
So
homes and
so
everything
here's the
because
thing. Here's the
there's
thing.
so much.
You're not necessarily wrong about that, but that's a problem across the board now because of the
Well,
fact that like
yes,
there's been a whole demoralizing and a breakdown
The
of
family
our
structure.
society and the family structure. And so like it started with that, with like welfare state and all that kind of stuff, but then it's like gotten worse, and like now a lot of white people are experiencing that kind of shit too, and they're glorifying the idea of like single motherhood and stuff like that, especially because I mean that's tied in with feminism and things like that, which is also stuff that I don't agree with. But um there's a lot of issues there when it comes to just like demonizing the role of the man in the family, and that's just happened
exactly.
across
We
the
all
board.
need a father figure in our life because
Yeah.
without
People's
that, look. I
order.
mean, look what's happened. Wait, I mean, look at the
Right.
gang violence. How many people come from and broken homes have a role in that too? Because
Yeah.
it's so bad,
Yeah, it's
and
really
nothing
bad.
is being done. Like no one's like going out saying, "Hey, we need to fix our communities and everything."
Well, so apparently there are
I
people who
came
do that.
from
The problem is that black people don't listen.
Exactly. You don't
Like you
listen.
saw what
Feels
happened to me
good.
yesterday, right?
Yes, it feels
Like
good. It feels good. So don't. We're just staying in the matrix because it feels good.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
or the
Yeah,
what is
exactly.
your
plantation. We gotta serve the master. And instead of being a white man, it's your damn self that's the master. You need to
Yeah,
what
break
is
right.
away
your
from the
guys'
master, man.
but what is your
Yeah.
guys' take
That's
on
cheap
broken
shit.
homes and everything?
Which
I
one you want
mean,
to start, Mister Behavior,
I
or
mean,
or
like
me?
I do think I do think that I'll start because it's like I do think that that's an issue. I think that there's a lot of black conservatives that like will talk about that issue, but they'll get sort of shut down by some of these like more lefty ones that will talk about, oh, there are people that are trying to fix that, and it's not true and all these kinds of things. But I mean, you know what? The reality is that I grew up, you know, with my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I have a relationship with my dad now, but like it actually does like really, it's not even just the issue of like um of that. It's like the way that men grow up who are raised by their mother. Like my dad was raised by his mother too, right? You know what I'm saying? And like it's a weird, it's a feminization that happens when it comes to men, and we start taking on the mindsets of women. And when that happens, we are not really prone to want to keep order, and we're not prone to want to like take our place, you know what I mean, in society. And when that happens, when you remove men from a society, you start to get breakdowns and chaos, because the reality is what we represent is the order, and what the female represents is the chaos. And when there's no order to that be brought to the chaos, and women are raising children in their image essentially, you get that kind of stuff. And I know it's kind of almost like a spiritual trip I'm going on, but like I really think that that's the main issue. I really do.
It's a solid point, and I agree. I mean, you can't have one without the other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's order and chaos. You know what I mean? You have to have a balance. I mean, that was the kind of like the whole point of it. Like, you go back to freaking Adam and Eve, right? Adam was supposed to watch over Eve and make sure she didn't fucking like eat the fruit, and he screwed up. You know what
He
I'm
had one
saying?
job.
Like,
He screwed
yeah,
up, and due to like Satan, like told
right,
Eve,
exactly.
go to the fruit. Allah will accept it. It'll be fine and good.
Right,
And Eve foolishly believed him. Went to Adam, said,
right,
"Oh, Adam, let's go to this tree. Allah won't mind. It'll give us like happiness and whatnot."
right,
And then
right,
what happened?
right,
Allah knew this, but they failed the test. But instead of
right.
wiping them out right then and there, he just sent them down to earth as a test.
But do you see what's happening now in the world? And like
Exactly. I can see.
if you look at the way like women's nature versus
Yeah.
men's nature, you can actually see that that story was told to us. That story exists so that we can understand the nature of the woman, and that it needs to be controlled into some descent from by the man. That's the whole point.
Hmm.
And it's not to get angry at them. It's not to like to cast blame on them, because that's their nature. They're the movement, they're the motion that brings like the beauty into life, right? But it has to be quelled, because if you go too far, then it becomes unbridled chaos.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the issue. It's like, man, we're not doing that anymore. We're not,
getting weak.
because we've been raised by our mothers, and we're taking on their mindset, and we think that their mindset is okay. And so we've been feminized. Dude, this is a real thing. It's crazy. And all of that stuff was in the fucking Bible, bro.
Bible and the Quran too,
in the Quran,
man.
bro. All that stuff was, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I think Islam is, that's why I was saying that Islam is based, because Islam actually understands this. And Islam stood up to women where Christianity did not. And that's why I was saying Islam is based to you on Twitter, because it's true. Islam stood up to women. That's why they have these rules, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so they don't screw up.
Muslim, like a liberal Muslim is an old school conservative in American point of view. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that's the part. But like the thing is, it's like Islam they really need to like make sure that they keep that, bro, because like the female nature will keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing. Like what happened in America was we gave up. Like men, honestly, I'm gonna have to throw anime now. I'm gonna have to throw white men under the bus a little bit, because this is really what happened. White men got scared of women, and they were afraid that they were not going to get laid, and they started conceding to women and giving women all types of shit, and they just kept wanting more and more and more and more, because that's their nature. They will always want more and more. They will never be happy. You will never make a woman happy, ever. That is one thing that men need to understand.
Yeah, that is, it's very true. It's hard to keep some women happy. I mean, because we try to as Omega was saying, I don't know if it was you or Mega, but we try to understand how women work, how they think, what they like, what they don't like. It's a matter of learning. And many people
we're never going to understand. Like, we're never going to understand, because they're completely different than we are. And what happened was
they could change on a dime.
In the 20s or whatever, when suffrage happened, men did not stand up to women, and they conceded to them and kept giving them more and more and more and more and more. And I keep telling my friends, I have this one friend that I talk to about this, and I'm like, bro, white men really fucked up, because what happened was white men let their women do whatever they wanted, and then as a result, black men started doing that too. And now look where we are.
Chaos.
I'm gonna be real. People are gonna call me a fucking misogynist, whatever, bro. But that's we have.
Oh
to,
no,
we,
I'm not even offended.
Like,
you have
we
a
have
point.
to be the heads of them. That's the whole point. That's the whole reason. That's what it was written. It's in the fucking holy books, man. Like, it's supposed to. The order is, and if you're a Christian, the order is Christ and man, or Christ and man, man over woman, woman over children, man over woman, and woman over children. God and Christ, Christ and man, man over woman, woman over children. That's it. And so like, that's the order. That's the order. It's an order. And the thing is, women resist order. They will at every step of the way. Think about every woman that you know in your life.
Yup.
You know what I'm saying?
Resist order, resist the rules. Everything's so strict. Right. Why? I need to have some fun and whatnot.
Freedom.
And freedom. You know, sometimes freedom is sometimes bad for you, because it's there's inner self speaking to them. Because can I continue here? Because basically, if you're following that, your own inner self, it could lead to destruction. Like I go to before, like the mental plantation. Instead of getting cotton and whatnot, you get like emptiness and like minor satisfaction. Instead of being like having kids or being providers of the family or nurturing the youth, like especially when they get hurt. The women's role in the family is supposed to nurture, like help cook for their families, help provide nurture and comfort to their loved ones. It's called me a traditionalist, but the reason why I'm not getting a girlfriend is what you guys are saying, because I do not like order in my own damn house.
Yeah.
And due to like an autistic person, I would have been in jail right now. But thank God I'm away from the whole problems or trial right now, because basically, it's in chaos right now. It goes what you said, because basically in in Islam or in Christianity or Judaism that or
Well, actually,
Buddhism.
no. Judaism is not like that. Actually, in Judaism, the women are the head.
Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me know that.
That's one of my issues with.
Yeah, or Shintoism or any pagan religion. Like the men provide for the family and provide order in most cultures and societies. Like for Arab for cultures around the world, like the men have order. Like they bring order and they establish it in their homes. The reason why people are like acting wild and they want to abolish police is because they don't know how to act. And if you get rid of the police, guess what? More chaos and disorder. The police provide, protect, and serve, which they're supposed to do. I know there's some great cops out there, and there are some that are wonderful people.
Omega, before you go off on tangent with the cops, I need to say something real quick, and then we should probably let Anime Night speak because he wants to talk for a second.
Okay, sorry about that, Anime Night.
When it comes to the order and the chaos, you can actually see this in the way that we represent men and women are represented when it comes to sex. Men can orgasm once, women can orgasm over and over and over and over. Why is that? It's because they don't have discipline. They can't stop. They move. They're constantly going. These are not things that are negative. This is just the nature of the female. That's why it's even represented in the way that we have sex. A man comes once and he's done, right?
Yeah.
A woman can go and go and go and go and go. And this evidence of these things are everywhere in the way that we interact with each other. You know, it's how a woman can keep arguing and arguing and arguing, right?
Yeah.
Keep talking and talking. Men's like, I'm done. I'm done, right? Yeah. If you just think about the way that your relationships are with every woman that you've ever known, your girlfriends, your mother, your sisters, whatever, you will see that that's actually what's going on. And the thing is, the whole trick was to get men to not see that for generations. I mean, we haven't been seeing it since like the 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so Mr. Anime Knight, can you any words before I continue?
Basically, you guys raised up very, very many good points, and I will agree. And it's really, really sad that how people are like blaming like the feminist ideals and everything, the ultra ones. The average feminist, I really don't give a shit about, because it's like they're doing their thing. They're doing their own thing. It's like, okay, have more power to you. But it's also true in order out of chaos, because if you don't have balance in the home life, look who's going to, it doesn't just affect them, it affects everybody. That's why we have all these crazy people out there who are like burning houses down or burning buildings. They don't have the proper discipline because they never had the proper balance of both things. You can have both and still be okay, but it also affects like the mental, the physical, the emotional level of how you interact with a person. If you don't have a proper stable home, I mean, you can in some circumstances, but in single parent homes, you can still, there are some good outcomes and there are bad outcomes. It's how you perceive it as such. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, no matter how you look at it. But it also reflects on society as well, because like we all came from different homes, like different households and everything. Yet we're still here and we're still fine, because we were taught differently and with different outlooks. But we may not always agree on, but we can also disagree to agree in some extents. But it's the wackos who don't have that luxury or never had the chance or opportunity to learn what we learned growing up at that time, which is really, really sad if you look at it, because no one has the nerve to like put their foot down and be like, hey, look, this is how it's going to be. You're going to behave like this. Stop this foolishness. But you can also learn how to add more like groundage, not overly ground them, but you can add some roadblocks,
punishment
in there. But maybe, punishments. Thank you. You can add punishments here and there, but you can also have them learn the hard way. Exactly, you can have both. and that's the system. And it's a nice system of like learning. You can learn the
Yeah.
hard way
Wait,
because
Anime,
like you can see.
I want to ask you.
Go
I want to
ahead.
ask you a question. So you said earlier about like the average feminist, how you don't really care about them. So like me personally, I think that feminism has accomplished its goals, very much like the civil rights movement accomplished its goals. So I don't understand the point of women. Like I've talked to my girlfriend about this too. I'm like, she says she's a feminist, but like reality is like she's kind of traditional, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she actually acts very traditionally. Like, so I'm like, why do you feel the
And
need to
there's
label
nothing wrong with
yourself a
that.
feminist? Well, because here's the thing, like the feminist movement is a movement. This is what I was talking about. Like it moves. These things keep progressing, and if you're not really on the train, then you're not actually going where the movement is going. So why do you feel the need to call yourself that if you're not going to be? Because actually, where the feminist movement is now is kill all men. Basically, it's like
Yep.
it's become this like really weird perversion of what it was when before. And I've talked to her about this. I'm like, dude, feminism used to just be women should be able to have a choice whether or not they want to work or they not, and I have no problem with that. Really, honestly,
That
a
it's
lot of
stuff
women are
like
complaining
that
about
I
it now.
don't is why I mean like I'm happy that women can vote. I'm happy that they have the choices to become a housewife, or they can also provide for the family as well. That stuff I'm okay with. That's why I know I probably confused on a few people on that. I apologize,
Well, I mean,
but what that's
there's
why I
something to be
said
said about
I
that.
don't.
There's
It's
something to
that
be
part
said
I don't
about
care
that.
about because I'm happy that happened. I'm happy that they have stuff like that. It's the
But
basic
don't you
feminist stuff.
do
I
you
don't.
think that do you think that women having the right to vote has anything to do with the positions that we're in right now?
Let me just say yes or no.
Because I think yes, but like I think it's too late. I think it's too late for us to go back. But I think that like this is something where like that's why you get those guys who are like repeal the 19th. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
they see kind of like I find myself like understanding where they're coming from when it comes to like because women are very they're very emotional and they think
They're
very
very
emotionally
emotional and
typically.
they're mostly like ungrateful, you might say.
Right. And
Yes.
so like their motivations are very care based, whereas
Hmm.
men tend to be very justice based. And
Yeah.
so when you have people that are like making decisions that are based on their feelings at the time, which can change obviously, right? You don't necessarily have people making great decisions. And this was the whole argument about it in the first place. And I think that there's some truth to it. I know it's really hard to like quantify that, right? Because like nobody has been measuring really, but like I don't know. Like I think I can see evidence of it in the present state of affairs because it's been 100 years, right? So
Yeah.
Hard to believe it's been 100 years, but I
yeah,
do understand where you're coming from, where both of you are coming from, and the fact is, if people continue to learn, like, hey, I can, because it's so sad that if you learn the easy way throughout your whole life, what have you accomplished?
Nothing.
I rather learn both things, both the easy way and the hard way, and also learn from it. If you don't learn things the hard way, you're never gonna grow as an individual. It's part of growing as a person to what you'll be like in the future, whether it be good or bad. People choose the easy way because it's simpler and it'll get you there faster, but at the same time, it really fucks up your mentality.
You big
And look
time,
what's
yeah.
happened. I mean, look what's happening currently in this whole climate and everything. It's scary
yeah,
because
Yeah.
it's like
yeah.
they're seeing how much they can get away with, and the more they get away with it, who's going to stop them?
Yeah.
The
No
more
one.
shit,
Yeah.
the more shit you
That's
do, and the more and you just get a slap on the wrist every time. Like, oh, if I set this car on fire, all I'm going to get is a slap on the wrist. Ha ha ha.
Hmm.
That's the mentality
yeah,
these people
yeah,
have,
right,
and it's
right. But
scary.
that's
Like
Yeah.
no,
but that's
they have no boundaries at
that
all.
comes with
Not
having no
even
discipline. That comes with being infused with the mentality of the chaos.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from. And
Hmm.
like we have so many grown men now that really have no idea like what we're supposed to be because we've been raised in this like weird especially people from like our generation, right?
Yup.
Because we're like the second generation to go through this stuff. Like my dad's generation was like the first.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah.
so like now we're like 2 3 generations in on this stuff and we have complete like dudes who have freaking no idea, young men who have no idea how to actually be men.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I'm thankful. I have a stepdad and my actual father in my life. I'm thankful for both because I've learned a lot from both sides. I've learned a lot from my dad and his mistakes, and I learned a lot from my stepdad and his mistakes. But both of them are actually making efforts to be in my life and in my sister's life. It's stuff like this that works, and yeah, it's okay to get Here's my take. It's okay to have, and this will tie into everything else that I've stated. It's okay to have single parent homes if done properly. You could still be a part of that kid's life. That's what's missing in the current generation. They don't have the balance and everything of both parents. You need both parents to learn. You still want that.
I mean, I would
You
say
need like a
that
father
I
figure
personally
or a
think
mother like figure in your life.
Yeah.
And
I personally
without
think
that,
that you need
how are you going to
both.
learn?
Like, I personally think you need both because you need to understand how the balance of the world, and you need to understand how functional relationships actually work. Look, this has come from somebody who was raised by a single mom, dude. Like, I don't think that single parents are a good thing. I really don't. I don't think that. I think that it's a bad thing for the kids, and I think that like statistically, we see
It's a matter of how you
we
handle
see
it.
that people. Well, we see that people who like, especially people who were raised by single mothers, white, black, whatever color, are more likely to end up in the prison system. This is true. Like, we know that. Like, and the people will go, oh, correlation is not equal causation, but like, okay, well, how can we see this across? We see this across races and ethnicities and countries and all this stuff. We see this. We know that like it is important for people to have two parents in the home. Like, we know that, and like we've completely destroyed that. That's actually where I go back with like the feminism stuff a little bit, because now that we have women out here working like men were doing and not in the home as much, even if you have two parents, you don't have both parents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they're working, because they're both out there, right? And so that was like the original balance, was you had one parent in the home and you had one parent going out to get the bread. Now that we don't have that, we've completely destroyed and broken down the family structure, regardless of whether or not there's actually two parents that are staying together, and it's impossible to reverse at this point. And that's where we get the mentality. Oh, it's okay because it's like the parents aren't even home anyway, so it's fine if there's one parent, because even if there was two, they would not be at home. You know what I mean? And it's like, so we've completely subverted like the traditional family structure. We've completely subverted the way that you're supposed to raise children, and we wonder why we have grown adults who are running around throwing Molotov cocktails at police 20, 30 years later. You know what I'm saying?
If my kid did that, I would whip their ass bigly. If they want, I would probably let them go to jail just to learn. I'd be like, hey, did you learn anything?
Yeah, right.
I would still care. I would still care, but it would also be a harsh lesson. Yes, it's harsh and all that.
Absolutely.
Let my own kid go to jail, but they need to learn that it's not okay to throw Molotovs at living beings who's also an authority figure in a sense. Because I mean, there's always going to be we do not. I mean, I don't like authority figures for the most part. I have my gripes with it here and there, but I can understand where they come from half the time. It's always going to be there. It's a never-ending cycle. You are going to have an authority figure here and there.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part, because it's like, yeah, they're an officer, but they also uphold the law. I mean, most of them do. Like, I agree with Omega on the great cop thing and all that. I agree with that. There are good cops out there, and they do uphold the law.
Yeah.
And they do uphold.
I would prefer to not have any.
Which is why I am okay with that. Having the authority figures like that to know, hey, this is the law and all that fun stuff. I'm like, okay, I respect that. I'm not. Am I going to go and attack the officer because of that? No. I have no right to. He could beat my ass down and arrest me and throw me in a cop car. I'd be in jail. That's one thing people don't learn. They don't learn how to accept responsibility for their actions. I mean, we all did some bad stuff as kids. Like, we drew on the wall, or we threw eggs at someone's house.
Yeah.
Oh, we just.
But for the most part, we were disciplined out of it.
But have we learned from that? Yes, we did. Because we had parents who actually were like, "Hey, you're gonna go over there." That too. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They disciplined
well, in my
us,
scenario,
but in ways to where
it
we
became
can
hard
learn.
for my mom. It became hard for my mom because she had me and my brother, and like when we were teenagers, like she didn't know what to do, dude, because we were two boys just running around being crazy. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's what I'm saying.
I've
Like,
lived in a
as
single
somebody who
parent
grew up in
house
that
too.
scenario, I think
Both
it's
me and
a
my
terrible
sister.
thing. Yeah, I mean, like as a somebody who grew up, especially like because it was me and my brother, and like we were raised by my mom, right? Like it's like for the most part, right? I was raised by my mom. Like it's not like my mom didn't know how to, and she even talked to me about this. She doesn't know how to raise a boy. She thought she's a woman.
Yeah.
She doesn't know how to raise a man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not. And it's not. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing saying that. I'm not disparaging her because of that. I'm like, it's she can't help that because she's not a man. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like not having my brother and I not having that. Like it's I actually have changed a lot in the past like 3 or 4 years because I started coming to realize like some of the things that were wrong about the way that I was brought up and like the way that the world is right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like for my brother, like that it's not good. You know what I mean? Like it's not he's not doing well, right? And it's like and then that's a cause of a lot of that. Like he doesn't understand like a lot of things about like how he's supposed to be as a man, and it's like I didn't know that stuff either until like I started kind of like, and thank God for the internet, right? Like I found people that like were able to like kind of give me some more advice. Like first it was like Jordan Peterson, and then it was like Jesse Lee Peterson, and then it was like all these people, and it's like, and I'm able to like hear what they're saying and be like, whoa, like there's truth to what these guys are talking about, you know what I mean? And like getting that from like a male figure that I didn't really have was actually really pivotal in me like becoming who I am, you know what I mean? Which I think I'm still a work in progress, but like it was super important. And I would never want to deprive my kids. Like if I have a child like with my girlfriend or whatever, like I'm gonna make sure that I'm in that child's life for sure.
Yeah.
Like there's no
Bingo.
way. Like that's why I don't have any kids now, right? It's like I wasn't able to like provide or do anything like that. If I got my girlfriend pregnant tomorrow, it'd probably be fine. You know what I mean? We'd be all right. But it's just like people don't think about that kind of stuff anymore.
Nope.
They
What's the
don't.
consequences and raising kids is a lot of work. This guy can add some 2 cents here because basically raising a kid, everyone have today sex is like luxury at this point instead of responsibility of what the consequences is raising a kid. Raising a kid changes a person's life in perspective. It's like it's work on itself how to raise a kid, not make sure they are healthy, they're not in jail, they have a good life, and how they react to society. Look at so many people these days, and especially the men and with beards, especially. No offense to you, Mr. Anime Knight, you're a cool dude. But
I got a beard too, man.
Oh yeah, me three. So we 3 people with beards. So so let me continue. So we got these feminine ass men who argue and act like men. This is why they're bisexual, by the way, or alphabet people. But oh crap! But let me just say this, okay? Most of them, probably a lot of them have single fathers in the homes. And it affected their mentality because they're raised by a woman. And women and men have different ways of thinking.
Right.
Women tends to like care and nurture and be pampered like a pet, while men go out and do all the hard work and to provide of the family and defend it like animals in the animal kingdom. Don't. It's not normal for lions to mate another male lion, or the male lion leaves his herd because he wants to enjoy his life. No, he is there. And also with the whole fiction and whatnot with deadbeat dads, and especially is like destruction of the family structure. They encourage it. They encourage that because they think the father, the white dad, and the black dad are if you have a strong dad and a strong foundation, today would have been like revolutionary. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
But how it is because they want people to be weak, and that's what we're seeing today. Because I want to be represented. It's like how a woman speaks. A man don't give a crap.
100%.
A man doesn't give a crap how they represented. What they need is rights to live and breathe and eat and not be hung on a tree.
Liberty.
Yes. But this whole representation is like what a woman thinks, and how they act like they can't provide an argument like a woman, so they block you and talk shit behind your back. I'm not. When I'm making jokes, I'm being sarcastic.
I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. I'm laughing because you're speaking so much truth that like that like a lot of people would just like would be uncomfortable with what you're talking about. But you're 100% correct. I think it's that's what I was saying before. It's about it's feminization. Like now you have all these men running around. I need to be represented, or I need to have rights, without talking about like responsibility or things that like are actually what we should be concerned with is responsibility. And you're talking about defending your home. I told my friend just recently got an apartment back in New Jersey where I'm from.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, dude, you got to go get a gun, bro. Go out and get your gun. And he's like, oh, I don't like guns. I can't. Well, I'm like, imagine being a man and not and not wanting to defend yourself and your dog.
Yeah.
He said to me straight up that his dog would defend him. And I'm like, dude, you know that a human can kill a dog easily, right? What would happen if somebody broke into your house and killed your dog and you failed to protect your dog? Like, what the hell is the matter with you, dude? You know what I'm saying?
I like to bring out another good argument. They care about their dogs and pets rather than their own fellow man. And another good point is
I think that both are important, right? Like I understand that he loves his dog and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like you have to be able
protect
to
your dog.
Him. Your dog's job is not to protect you. It's the other way around, my guy.
Yeah.
Your dog's job is to warn you if something happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Okay.
And so like these men, they don't understand. I mean, these males, I call them males. They don't understand this. And they're like they've been ripped out of this the mentality that they're supposed to be the ones defending and protecting. And what they think is something else is going to protect them, which is what we were talking about, which is how women think. Yeah. Something else is going to protect. And that they should think that, because we're supposed to protect them and children and dogs and all that shit. Yeah. That's our job.
Mm-hmm.
So exactly. Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mega.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, anyways, like he said here, but this is why I prefer self-defense with guns or swords and whatnot, or blades, or even a pocket knife or whatever weapon. I believe in self-defense because who's going to protect your home? Because basically, the cops are going to come in time when they're not going to help you in time. They have a certain amount of time to be there, but seriously, it's a right to protect yourself while someone calls the cops while you're out defending them. But it's easier said than done. You have to get rid of your fear because so many people have fear. And fear is a natural thing. But this is ridiculous because they're so afraid they don't even do like basically manly stuff, for example. Yes, I chopped some logs and whatnot and lift weights. And
you gotta exercise, man. You gotta exercise. You gotta know how to use a gun. You gotta dude,
martial
I got my
arts
shotgun under my bed, bro. Somebody tries to break into my house, they're getting blammed.
Boom. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I went out when it was one of the first things I did when I brought my girl up here is that we went to the shooting range. I taught her how to use my pistol. And I'm like, yo, you got to be able to use this shit. And we're going to get her one. And you know what I mean? So that we can, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And she grew up in a house where they were so anti-gun. It was you know what I mean? But my girl is she's smart. She was raised as in very liberal sense. And she even went to a really liberal school. She went to Mills. Yeah. And she was she talks about how she was so angry through college all the time because of critical race theory and all this kind of stuff. But she's so calmed down, and we have conversations about stuff. She's not stupid. She's very smart. She understands that those things are dumb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
She's still liberal in the sense of all women are liberal, right? She wants everybody to get along, and she wants everybody to have rights and all that kind of stuff. And that's fine. We can argue about certain things and disagree on certain things. Right, she thinks that prison reform is important. I personally think we need people reform, and we talked about this yesterday. I'm we can disagree on that, and that's fine, not a big deal. But you know, my job as you know, that's why I showed her like how to use a fucking gun, because my job is to make sure that she's okay, and to teach her about these things that like she didn't get as a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's pretty wild to me like how many men like don't do this anymore, and they kind of like they just fall into the feminine, right? They just do whatever
they become
the girl
beta
wants.
males.
Betas, yeah. They become beta males, and you see all this weakness around. Can I talk for a minute here?
Go ahead.
We haven't let Anime talk in a while.
Yeah, sorry about that, Mr. Anime. If you don't mind.
This is your podcast, my friend. You have the floor. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically, you guys give a good point here, because basically, look at this whole situation. It's like I get like when I get upset, I like focus on this. I ponder with this one thing, and you guys get some good points. And you're right, Islam is based, but the reason why I put religion down on Twitter, because religion brings the foundation at the home. It's basically, but you're going to disagree with some of these points, but it brings foundation. It brings a purpose in the home. It brings culture. We don't have any culture in the home. People are angry and freaking lost out and bored out of their minds because of COVID. They don't know what to do, like how to read, for example, because reading's a good thing. It's not that it lets you learn stuff and preserves history, but also it entertains you as well, and ponder and have free thinking skills. And I'm going to get some hate on modern youth, but I don't give a flying hell. Let me just say this. Communism does not fix shit. What fixes it is basically bringing back the family structure, bringing back morals and values. Does communism allow morals and values and the Communist Manifesto? Let me answer this. No. Why? Because I heard some stuff and I read some stuff about Karl Marx being a disgusting human being. Like this is the type of guy that sleeps on friends' couches and barely works his whole life. This is a fat ass man, okay? An example of a modern beta who is super fat, lived with a lot of people throughout his whole life. He's basically a freeloader, by the way, unlike Freud and whatever thinkers that are. But I'll get to them another day. But really, people, and look at his legacy. We got Stalin, who killed millions of people. We got Hitler with his friends with forms of communism in the form of fascism. And you got like Pol Pot, and you got the whole other countries in Cuba and whatnot. And look at them, they're hellholes till many years later. And that's why you see all these people get triggered when you say communism, because it killed a loved one of theirs, or they struggled so much they did not have a normal life. And looking at America, I'm happy, even though it's not the perfect country, but I appreciate people coming here the right way, raising their kids in a foreign land, barely know a lick of English, by the way, have a different culture and foundations of life, and you're leaving that all behind for you and having a better life for your kids. Now that is dedication and sacrifice right there. People don't get the consequence of sacrifice and working hard. Look at the simple things. It's simple though. I sacrificed games by trading them to like GameStop to get at least one game I really wanted. Most of the time the games were disappointing, but only twice the trades worked off. Tales of the Abyss for the 3DS because I wanted to play it. And also, what's that other game I traded long ago called? So forgot the game. So even small things, if you sacrificed for it, you'll appreciate it a whole lot more because you sacrificed for it.
100%.
And if you even worked at McDonald's, which is the crappiest jobs in the world, with 580 tops, that includes all taxes and whatnot, goes down to 480s or 520 or some crap. But let me just say this. The pay is crap, but look how many games I bought with it. Look how many stuff I got and clothes I got. It makes you feel more like a man.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Because basically, I don't.
Well, you earned it. Yeah. You earned it.
Yeah, I don't know about you two, but Mr. Behavior's like room and setup, he probably paid quite a couple grand because of his good paying job, because he learned shit which I regretted to, but I don't want to go back to the horrible school. I want to probably learn by myself. By the way, no, excuse me, Mr. Behavior, no offense to you, about the stuff he learns, which gave him a job and a career. Look at people in college now. Do they have a career? I got a special psychology English degree. Dude, psychiatry puts food on the table at least. But what degree you have again? Your feelings degree? That does shit, man.
Your feelings degree.
At stuff that let me just say this. Stuff like
man, you can't see my face, but I'm smiling so hard.
Yeah, stuff like your Demi teaches you shit that will benefit you in your life. What they should be teaching in college and schools, and people would have been like happy. You don't have to be in freaking debt because you got ripped off because people got your feelings and they think you're really cool and whatnot. Dude, I'd rather have a jerk, but at least they let you learn a thing or two from those jerks. But at least McDonald's taught me a lot of things about how the business works, how customer service works. They don't give a shit about customer service, okay? Let me tell you that. If you've been rude to a customer, they'll put you on like floor duty or something, or you get sent home, or you get a bad review or bad customer rating, because it's really in the restaurant business or the fast food, customer service is king. Every 100%. Business is king. And when they come back, it's because of customer service. It's how you treat others and you treat yourself. And it shows a bad thing to your business and brand if you argue with them, call you isophones, being jackasses with you. This is not how you do business, man. And you wonder why Hollywood and Western video game industry having no respect and the like. That's because they're going woke and they're going broke. That's what it is, because they forgot the foundations how to run a business. We're not like social studies. I want to be represented. Dude, you're not a freaking woman. You're a freaking man, some of you. You're freaking humans, not women, okay? We are humans. And
yo, you just dropped so much knowledge, bro. You just dropped so much truth, bro.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I
gotta take a breather. You just dropped so much knowledge, my guy.
Thank you, but people say like the podcast. What I just heard the other day, dude, I was like laughing at this. How they just jumped on two dudes. I feel bad for Black Sage because he's trying to be polite and respectful to explain his and then you go all alpha male, but come on, bruh. I know Black Bond can do better than that. He's like the guy who's alpha of the alphas. Now he's like one of those sheep now. Because look at back in the day. You brought a good point on this. Like, if you're born before 1980, you went through some shit as a black dude. My dad can tell you that. Personal experience. He told us some stories. Probably didn't tell us all, but he told us some stories. Like a friend of his got killed by the police by being hung on a shoestring. You don't know how a black guy with 6 foot tall, about to get married, killed himself. Or look how people get hung on a tree or get beat up or sneered at a daily basis because it's a societal norm back in the day.
Yeah. That's why I say to some people, I'm like, look, man, I understand why my dad thinks the way that he thinks, because he was born in 1962.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can understand where that comes from, but dude, if you were born after 1980, bro, you don't have that much to complain about. You just don't.
Yeah, but look at this. My grandfathers, my dad, and we're living the life right now. Let me tell you that we are living the life as much as possible. We're not getting sneered at. We're not getting barred jobs, which is we're not getting barred high education. We are not getting barred to vote. We are not being barred to go into nightclubs or movie theaters. We're not barred to go to a separate bathroom saying colored on it or Negroes only.
Yeah.
But we got all of it, but people don't take it for granted. And people will say to me, your ancestors you're disrespecting your ancestors' legacy for not voting. Bitch, let me tell you something right now. Why should I vote for some people that don't give a shit about me and I don't give a shit about them? They don't align with my views or what I want. When I want to vote for something, if I want to vote for someone, they gotta align for what I like. I had to admit this. Back in 2008, I was hyped because I thought Obama will fix stuff. I was not naive then. I wanted to vote. I even took day off of school because Obama got into office. That's how I was down with Obama back in the day.
Yeah, me too.
And just let you know, he's a normal politician. And when he left, I voted for no one in 2016. Wonder why? No one I cared for. Trump.
Did you vote for him in 2012?
2012? No.
No, you didn't vote? Okay.
I'd rather prefer him than Mitt Romney.
Who was
another politician. But seriously, the whole Trump and Hillary thing, I just said I don't give a crap. And this year, it's getting so ridiculous. Like I said, I don't give a crap either. It's getting so dumb.
I hear you. I voted for Barack Obama in 2008. I was hyped. I cried when he got elected because I thought it was like a huge deal, right?
Yes.
I was like 20 years old. I was like super stoked.
Yeah.
And then in 2012, I voted for Roseanne Barr because I was like, fuck all these politicians. I started to like think a little bit more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I thought I liked Roseanne because I still like Roseanne. I think she's hilarious. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna vote for her because she's cool.
Yeah.
And this is something that I like say to people all the time. It's like, you wanted me to fucking vote for Hillary because she was a woman. Like, I voted for Roseanne because she's hilarious. None of you guys voted for Roseanne Barr except for me. So shut the fuck up. I was OG on that.
Yeah.
And then 2016, I hated both candidates because I believed all the nonsense about Trump. I don't believe any of that stuff anymore. I voted for Trump this year. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
But like in 2016, I believed all the nonsense about him, and I didn't like Hillary, and I couldn't do it, so I didn't vote. And this year I'm like, because I've been watching what Trump's been doing, and I'm like, he's not that bad. Like I can vote for him. It's fine. Yeah. I also liked Donald Trump when I was a kid, and he was just a cool rich guy.
Exactly. Let me give you a good point here. I know what you mean because a family friend at where I stood at his house at the time, he referenced it to his father that Donald Trump was a celebrity when we were kids.
Right, exactly.
People loved the fuck out of him. But now this whole hate,
WWE.
Yeah, but really, people hate him is all this fake hate because they're not getting their Hollywood money. Because let me just say, put a tinfoil on. Because when Hillary became president, let me just tell you something, okay? That she will provide Hollywood money. That's what it is. And knowing Trump, you know how he has some feelings of the NFL and whatnot in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And you know how Hollywood loves the fuck out of Obama?
Oh, yeah.
Because basically, to me, politicians are politicians at the end of the day. They're corrupt. They're just overprivileged guys that need to go. Why do you care about voting now? Where do you guys vote at the midterms?
No, that's a fact.
Tell me that.
Too.
Where is that?
I actually.
Thank God you're one of the few people that did it.
Yes, I did. I did this past. Yeah. Well, I was in California, but yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But I voted against all the Democrats. Didn't do anything because I was in California, but but I had to be like, yo, I gotta vote. Dude, honestly, when I started actually paying attention to what was going on, I was like, I can't vote for fucking Democrats, dude. I can't.
No.
Like, I can't do it. And black people are forced to vote for Democrats. People are like, oh, you're black, you need to vote for me. They have your best interest at heart and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, what? No, they don't, dude. What are you kidding me? Like, first of all, the main reason why I can vote for Trump, honestly, is because he has only been in politics for 4 years.
Yeah.
And he's done a bunch of stuff he's done things that I don't like. He's done things that I do like, right? But at the end of the day, he's not part of the crony politician stuff that like Obama was a part of, that Biden's a part of, that Hillary's a part of. You know what I mean? And so like I don't feel bad. That's the same reason why I voted for Roseanne Barr in 2012, dude.
Yeah, because they're different.
Exactly.
Mr. Anime Knight, anything you like to say? Because
you haven't talked in a while.
You've been really silent, like a ninja.
Oh no! I just been I'm just listening and observing. So you guys are fine. That's what I usually do. I usually listen and observe. I don't chime in. I just wait and listen and see when it's appropriate to chime in. But you guys are right. And here's my thing. In '08, I left the political party system in '08. Still haven't voted because I've seen all the. Obama. Here's my take. Obama made history of being the first black president. Okay, I'm okay with that. That I'm happy about. Yes, congratulations. The policies. I like him as a person. But as president, you kind of got to draw the line between do you want to like him still? But he seems like a cool dude to go play golf with. But I'm just
he basically just continued the war.
It's a whole giant mess. And then when war started, don't get me started.
Obama basically just continued the wars that Bush started.
Yeah,
Obama was really right wing. See, this is the thing that people don't understand is that
unfortunately,
they think that he was left wing because he's a Democrat.
I agree with both of you though, because I agree with both of you on Obama. Like when he first got elected, I'm like, okay, let's see what he can do. Like, because I wanted to see what he can do. I had nothing against that. I had nothing against him. But but here we are so many years later.
Nothing.
What has he accomplished? Exactly. And people, I've been getting bombarded. I got lambasted. Hell, I've been threatened a few times because I haven't been voting. They're like, "Oh man, you gotta vote for us. You gotta vote Democrat. You gotta vote Republican." Like, guys,
you don't have to vote anybody if you don't want to.
I'm on the fence for many reasons because I want to see where this is going. Am I terrified of where it's going? Yes. All these riots, everything that's been happening. Joe Biden creeps me the fuck out. I will say that. Trump, I will agree with Mr. Behavior. I like what he did, but I didn't like what he also did. I'm kind of like that, basically. I'm happy he's bringing...
On the fence with some of his policies and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, like for example, like he banned bump stocks.
I'm on the fence with a lot of things.
Amendment, right? And that's the thing that the Second Amendment matters to me. That's why I brought up guns, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and Trump is really bad on that, right?
Yeah.
And like Obama was better on that, for example. So that's one thing I liked about Obama, right? But these are things that I didn't know like until years later when I actually started looking at stuff. But like something that Trump has done that's really good, right? Is like the USMCA, like that whole deal, the trade deal with the labor deal with Mexico and Canada.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really good too, right? And like so, like there's things that are, and then there's people who care about prison reform. They should like the First Step Act. I don't care about prison reform, as I mentioned earlier, so I think that's stupid. But if you care about prison reform, dude, honestly, he's done a bunch of stuff that like lefties should love.
Yeah.
If you care about prison reform, you should like that. Like, you know.
Yeah. One thing I like about Obama is that the one thing I like about Trump is how he sticks by his principles. Instead of being I'll fix his speech, he actually did stuff that he promised to do. That's why his voter base worships him to death. I'm not no Trump supporter. I basically don't like Trump as a politician, but he did some good stuff here and there. I give him that.
Yeah, you have to. You have to be honest about it, you know?
Yeah.
I am honest. I like what Trump has done on most aspects, but I wish he would have like done better on some other things too.
Yeah.
But he's human just as like you and me and everybody else. We're all human. We may have done things that may have not been popular with people, but at the end of the day, it's inevitable. But with Clinton and Biden and who's that?
All these other
the
politicians.
Who's the bitch that's running with Biden right now?
Camila
Kamala,
Harris.
Dude,
I don't trust her.
Yeah.
I've lived in San Francisco for 10 years.
Here's
dude.
the thing.
People down there hate her.
She is a
She's a
Hillary
cop.
Clinton clown. That's what she is.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Exactly,
has the
my friend.
She has the laugh. She has the nervousness, and she has the same insane agenda as Miss Clinton does. And I am like, fuck this. She's just a wannabe Clinton, like a horrible copy and paste. And that has sense.
Yeah.
But and to this day, I mean, when you sit on the fence, when you stay out of out of the party system, you see things in a broader perspective. It's frightening, but at the same time interesting. And I've seen that shit going on just by being on the fence. Like, I can understand where most people are coming from, but I just can't understand either side. I just can't. They change up their shit every time. You think you finally get it figured out, boom, they do something new. It's like, great. Back to the motherfucking drawing board.
Yup.
Hey,
I
guys,
don't understand either party.
I'm going to start boarding in a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to start boarding in a little bit, so I'm going to peace out. But beforehand, I'll let anybody who's listening know you can find me at Twitter at Real Mr. Behavior. If you want to hit me up, Real MR Behavior.
Yeah.
I'm also on twitch.tv/MR Behavior, and youtube.com/LSCSTAKES. That's my YouTube channel. You can find all that stuff on my Twitter.
Yeah.
But you guys, it was really fucking awesome. That's cool. Holy crap.
Yeah,
that's tight.
You asked me what was in the mini box. I can show this one. The other one I'm gonna save as a surprise.
But yeah, so
probably
if you guys want to find me on Twitter, that's awesome. Omega, I thank you very much for having me on the podcast again.
Okay,
it's
you
really
too,
fun.
dude.
I love talking to you as usual.
Yeah.
We got to play some more Guilty Gear one of these days.
Yeah.
And then
it's a great game.
Anime night. Night. Great talking to you, bro. Like I'll see you guys later. This was really fun.
You too. Take care, people.
All right. Peace.
Yeah. Peace. So Anime Night, that was a pretty good discussion here. Now, I usually don't talk about politics, but usually he gives some good points I agree with and whatnot.
Exactly.
Basically,
I mean, politics is like the hardest subject. It's like a very hot button issue that no one likes, but I like the way we all controlled it. It was actually really controlled. We had we got our points across, and we didn't. We weren't at each other's throats. We just listened. If people can I wish we had this more often. If people can learn how to debate with each other without spouting nonsense, it would be it would be an okay subject to talk about. But no, you got everybody's been alienating everybody. It's like, you gotta vote this. That one post I saw where that girl was holding up those what's
the name? What's her name again?
I can't remember her name,
whatever her name is. Don't you realize her parents fled America for her to have a better life? Don't you realize
America
that?
may not be the best country.
I know.
America may not be the best country in the world, but I'm thankful for the fucking freedoms we have.
Yes, we do.
The ability to speak, the ability to defend ourselves, the ability to. Well, I mean, these are being eviscerated right now.
Buy what we want, and look. Can you show that figurine for a minute, Mr. Anime Night?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look in Australia, they're banning this stuff right now as we speak. They're not letting you buy those figures at all because it promotes pedophilia. But they're going behind the scenes, promoting endangering actual children, man. It's like a taste of artwork and whatnot, and they're getting all butthurt for the wrong reasons. But besides going to politics, we just want to take a break right now, and just people in the chat, even though we just got Mad Matt in the house, if you're still there, Matt, I'll give you a shout out for trying to be I'll set one of those C-SPAN and whatnot. I'm really sorry about that, Matt. We're just getting into the conversation, and let's get to your question right here. Jeto T is one of the best mecha designs for sure. Not to mention Yoji Shinikawa, aka Metal Gear series, gives me some serious Makoto Kobayashi, aka Dragon's Crown, various guns, the Bondoc of Zeta Gundam, as far as mecha design goes. Really?
Oh, hi, Matt. I didn't even realize you were in the comments section. Oh my goodness. This is what happens when you're so focused, you don't pay attention to your surroundings.
Oh yeah.
So Matt, I deeply apologize. I wasn't ignoring you intentionally. That I even realized you were here. So apologies, but hello, and hope you're enjoying the show.
Yeah, if he didn't left because we're ignoring him, because we're going through all this politics and all this BS, which most people don't like, but I'm surprised we didn't get into like verbal arguments over this stuff, over religion and politics, which is really touchy subjects, because it goes into the person's beliefs and mindset, how they view life and how they live their life.
Exactly.
Anime and games are one thing. Because basically they're entertainment. We can go on with their lives. It is fiction. And it's people getting offended over fiction.
It's what keeps us out of the streets.
Keeps us out of the streets. Keep us entertained. Give us hobbies that are not destructive. Look how much today people's like hobbies are destructive that's being promoted today. Womanizing, drug use,
exactly, and violent crimes. I mean,
violent crimes, partying. What that brings to the table at the end of the day, behind a cell, like an animal, because you acted like an animal. Or you got a child out of wedlock and you left that woman you banged for fun to leave her out to dry because you don't want to take care of that kid. That is one of the most childish things that I ever heard of in my entire life.
And unfortunately, it's become more rampant. And that's why it scares me, because it's like we're seeing less and less of like of what you've been saying, of like a structural family thing. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that, because and this goes back to what Mr. Behavior was saying. He is right on a few things. He's right. I will agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's so sad that people just want to fuck and move on and be like, "Oh, you're pregnant. I'm sorry, but I don't want this." It's like, why'd you bang her in the first place? I mean, if you're not gonna be responsible, you shouldn't have banged at all on that prom night.
Yeah.
But people don't know how to take responsibility, and and look at the consequences. Look what's happening. They don't want to take responsibility for their own actions. They just let them do whatever they want. I feel bad for the households these people live in.
Exactly. Like when my mom and dad were still together, she used to be really upset that kids, like their parents, are not being parents, and parents want to be the kid's friend. My mom's really cool, but at times you don't want to piss her off, nor my dad, because I'm like the last generation that parents acted like parents. You don't jump boundaries without getting consequences. And before that, that being said, Dragon's Haven anime series that I totally blow my wad for. Speaking of which, there was an anime OVA back in the 1988 or so, and it's really interesting. It's like Mobius, the French comic Mobius, and it had this unique art style, which it drew me to the series.
Ever heard of this anime?
Heroic. I got that on DVD. I actually got that on DVD. Heroic Age by the same character designer.
I got this with the figure. I bought it from Akari, and that's where I got it from. And I meant to ask them about this. I'm like, is it worth getting?
You can get it for $20 because basically, if you love science fiction adventure anime, it'll be for you, dude.
I'll have to get out that's my list of animes to watch. But continue onward with what you were saying.
But it's not just affecting the personal lives. You're seeing society crumble because people want to act like women. They want to act whatever we can do, whatever we want to do, and whatnot. Look at the creativity. They're like people, only a woman does type of writing like that. Because superheroes, why the superheroes we love so much? Because not just they're men, it's also because they uphold justice and order.
And responsibility.
That too. And
that's why we can relate with them, because it's like they're there and they're like the fictional parents in a sense.
Yeah.
Which I am okay with. It's nice to have role models.
Yeah.
You're not seeing that anymore. People are like, oh, girls want to be like Cardi B, Katy Perry, or Miley Cyrus.
Bad role models. Dude, celebrities are not your role models, because basically you can't relate to them and you can't actually help your role model succeed, or seeing the reaction of your role model and saying how proud you are. Look, my role model isn't that much, but as a kid, he impressed me to the point I want to become a gamer because of him. I loved video games as really much as a kid, but he made me become the gamer who I am today. Exactly. I'll probably get him on the podcast if I give him some time or whatnot, and I would love to talk to him again, and for you guys in the chat to meet him and whatnot. But to be honest, let me just say that we don't give a crap about anything like that anymore. And they are hacks, dude. Screw them, man. Because basically, look at. Let me get to a fictional example. You heard the game called Xenogears, right? Mad Matt, correct me if I'm wrong on some story elements. Okay. Due to like the main character Fei Wong Fong living in a broken home, despite living in two different parents' households and whatnot, as a result of his like crazy upbringing, he had two multiple split personalities. One is like you're basically Fei, which is basically a guy who cares about his fellow man, tries to like live in peace and whatnot. And while this other, let me show you his alter ego. People, look at his Mad Matt's like profile pic right here. Look at his profile pic right here.
Exactly.
His name is Ed, and it has two different personalities. Ed, like this very violent, very evil, very nihilistic, doesn't care about anyone at all. Like an angry person who just, like a superhero or a character trope that been deconstructed so much that he got all the love stripped out of him, all the care stripped out of him, everything stripped out of him. All his loved ones are dead. All his loved ones are gone. He has none of that. Instead, he's just a killing machine that has been deconstructed to the point he doesn't care anymore.
Precisely.
And can I continue for a moment, please?
Oh yes, I'm so sorry.
And here's the plot point, the plot twist. It comes when Faye was under distress or stressed out. And if I'm right on that, Matt. If you can hear me, I'm right on that. Whenever Faye, it appears Faye isn't there because it is Faye. When he's like all these bottled emotions and whatnot took control of him. That's what it is. It is it. We don't know. Yeah. I need to get back to playing Xenogears, but it's a really good game. What happened to the storytelling? All this selfish stuff is affecting storytelling. They're like afraid to hurt people's feelings when we do complex stories. That's why you don't get Lane. That's why you don't get complex tales. That's why you don't get like adventure stories. That's why you don't get you don't get good stories like a family, a simple based family that has their own separate problems, but at the end of the day, they love each other and support one another. I want to see the badass dad that plays games with his kids. As well, at the same time, he brings order to the home and provides his family. And his wife, yes, she provides she cooks for the family. She also provides for the family as well. But at the same time, she cares about the children and the husband and tries to calm them down and tries to nurture them. Like try to like I'd like someone to have your shoulder to lean on. Like tell them about your problems and whatnot. Which basically we don't see that these days because basically we're too sucked with pride and we're so afraid that they will ostracize us and abandon us because they say not my problem, sir. Because we see more people that are nihilistic and evil, and what I just see is just madness. I'm sick of all the madness on Twitter. I'm sick of all the madness, what I see in the news. I'm sick of people not caring about one another. I'm sick of like the shootings and whatnot every year or two. Because it is getting insane. It gotta stop. Exactly. And yet it keeps on continuing because we forgot the one thing that starts out. The home. It's society and the home they actually relate to one another. They're different on the outside, but in reality, they're the same. Because
it's like
basically,
how you treat your family member.
Yeah, we see so many broken family members. We've seen so many. I've never heard this before. Like family members that hate each other, like they're enemies. Give me a break, man. It's sad.
It is. I've had multiple. My grandmother on my mom's side of the family, she hasn't spoken to me or my sister because we're just reminders of her failings, and I'm just like, you know what? I just told her straight up before I left that house. I told her straight up, I'm like, look, just because my dad did something bad doesn't mean I'm going to make the same mistake. I learned from it but you're so stuck in the past, you can't get over yourself. So this is the last time you're going to see me. So let this be the reality of it. You chose to hate on me, so what's stopping me from doing that? And we haven't spoken in over 6 years. I'm okay with it because you know what? It's a negative force out of my life, and I'm doing much better. I just hate being compared to like my dad and his mistakes when in reality, he already learned from his mistakes, and I learned not to repeat those. I did shit my own way.
Yeah, we all learn.
It's hard. It's hard to do that, but once you hit a certain age, when you look back, like, wow, I can't believe I made that choice. It's a feel good moment, but at the same time, it's also a reality bender in a sense. But and I agree with the broken home thing because you don't have that anymore. Like it's so bad, and yes, there are family members who do argue and fight and like bring up shit. It's like, oh, and hell, they even play politics in it. Politics is horrible in this situation because it's like, oh, I hate you are not my grandson because you voted Republican. Bull fucking shit.
Yeah.
Bull fucking shit. When do politics determine whether or not you love somebody? You love the person based on who they are. It's the simplest complex on the planet. I love my friends because I accept them for who they are. Do we have different views? Yes, we do. We have different backgrounds, we have different viewpoints, and we have different upbringings, and we went through personal trials and errors. That's what makes us all different. We're human, but we have different things happen to us whether we liked it or not. That's the simple thing that most people don't get nowadays is because people want to be better than others, which is a very toxic ideology, and it's far more destructive on an individual level and a social level.
Yeah. They don't know how to take care of one another. You wonder how I got these beliefs from? Because as a Muslim, it got me. And when I read Quran and the Hadith, it taught me who I am today. Not this whole I want to blow up the West, I want to blow up a building and shoot some people because they're infidels. No, that's not what Islam is. I did because that's not the true Islam. Okay? Don't believe what the TV says, or like Christianity's like this whole backwards religion, super conservative. You can't do this or you're going to fucking hell and whatnot. But really, I don't get how the entertainment industry hates religion. Feel me on that, dude?
Exactly. Yeah,
because
I agree.
Okay, can I? Yeah, because basically,
go ahead.
when
Sorry
they
about that.
say, when they say, "Oh, you're Muslim," oh my God, you're in that backwards religion, dude. Do I look like I'm backwards to you? Do I acting like I'm backwards to you? No. You wonder why I'm so empathetic and I care for my fellow man and be respectful to those who respect you back and give respect even to those that hate you or don't like you, dude. The only one that I should be fearing is God. That you should be fearing. They're afraid of their fellow man of judging them and whatnot. Screw them, man. You need to leave. And I'm really grateful I left to Dubai, to the UAE and Qatar for 2 years each, and other different states because it broadened my horizons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so scary because, I mean, I agree. I'd rather be judged by the being up there
Yeah.
because I'm like, okay, once I meet this divine being, whoever it may be, I mean, every religion has different gods and everything. I agree. I am okay with that. It's like you have your own beliefs, I have mine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah.
And that's because people, and I agree on the why it's just like the media and shit like that are afraid of religion is because they don't understand it and they don't know how to tolerate it
Yeah.
because they just don't. I mean, I do believe in a paradise and I do believe in a dark place.
Yeah.
And where we go from here after we're done living in the physical world, that
Mhm.
is entirely up to whoever is in control, whether it be up there or down
Yeah.
there. That's what I fear the most. It's
Mhm.
like, where am I going after I'm gone from the physical world? That's the one thing I fear about. I don't give a
Yeah.
shit if my boss criticizes me or judges me or tells me I'm going to heaven or hell. I don't give a shit about that. I rather hear it from the person up there, face to face in spirit form. I rather hear it from them. I'll be like, okay, just tell me where the fuck I'm going, and I'll happily go there. But I gotta wait until then.
Yeah.
I also agree that people have different, and I also agree that of being judged because it also pertains. One person can make an entire religion look bad. Like a group of people can make
Yeah.
a whole
Real
lot of people
bad.
look bad. Because
Yeah.
Muslims, and you're right, the TV doesn't know what the fuck it's talking about.
Yeah.
Muslims, I've known many Muslims, you're one of them, who are down to earth, who are actually nice,
Yeah.
and are just living out their lives. They hate the fucking extremists. I
Yeah.
can't tell you the number of people I've known who are so horror. They just hate them so much. They just look at them like with utter disgust, and they were very upset with what happened on 9/11 and how
Yeah.
bad it affected them so
The
badly.
Muslim badly.
I've heard the stories from the average Muslim, not the
Mhm.
crazy ones. They told me some real shit, and I gave them a hug, and I'm like, look, I don't hate you because you're Muslim. I respect you. What they did does not affect you. Well, yes, it does affect them as a general, but I respect them enough as for who they are, not what some
Yeah.
crazy people did. And
Yeah.
that's
And all those
why
people. Yeah.
and that's
I'll
why I
let you
respect
continue.
the person. And that's
Yeah.
why I respect people for who they are because it's like, look, I don't give a
Mhm.
shit if you're
Yeah.
black, white, Latino, or any of that. I want to know the person that's in front of me. I want to know
Mhm.
what you believe. I want to hear your take, your insights on these issues because I learned from others. That's why I
Mhm.
got all this knowledge is because I hung around with so many different people growing up.
Yeah.
And yes, it is terrifying. It is terrifying to
Yeah.
learn new things, but if you and people run away from it, and that's where ignorance comes in. Ignorance,
Yeah.
it can it can be avoided, but
Uh-huh.
at the same
Yeah.
time, it's unavoidable in most
Yeah.
aspects. It's it's easy to be ignorant. It's not easy to be unignorant.
Yeah.
It's not easy. You can be ignorant on most things. That's fine. But when it
Mhm.
comes to key issues, You gotta really listen to other people. You have to
Mhm.
hear it from the other side before you
Mhm.
pass judgment. I
Yeah.
pass judgment in fairest affairs. If you've done
Yeah.
something bad, my number one question will be, what did you learn?
Mhm.
That's my
Yeah.
number one question I always ask. And
Yeah.
believe me, the answers I've heard are eye
Yeah.
openers or just straight up just stupid. But
Yeah.
go ahead, Omega.
But let me. You got some. You gave us some good points there because basically, let me just say that you that really I was really surprised about that. Due to your travels, you're able to meet so many different people and have so many like different like opinions of life and whatnot. I'm kind of surprised about that. I thought you the type of guy that just moves to like lives in Arizona, lived in Detroit for a bit, and actually just like you're a standard dude that just like watching anime all day. No disrespect to you, you're an awesome guy,
None take it.
because basically a lot of those guys, I don't blame them. They want to stay out of the personal lives. They don't care about. They want to escape to the fantasy worlds and whatnot. But at least you try to understand other people, and you understand that reality is not the best place right now, but we can improve it. It's not that much. We're just ants to the whole thing, but around us in general, just how to be positive to one another. We need more positivity. We need more reconstruction. We no more subversion. No more Watchmen Eva deconstructions. I just want reconstruction. We just need a family or a unit again to bring like teamwork. You know those old PBS kids shows that they preach about teamwork and whatnot in the kids shows?
Yeah,
We need more of that because, like, what's that one song I forgot? It's really catchy. Probably from Barney, that or some show like that. That when you, I learned the lesson that two or more make the job. It's quicker to get it done if you work as a team, as well as more efficient.
exactly. And you see, and also and it's also in the workforce too. I mean, I work in
Yeah.
grocery. Yes, it's a big area, but I work with multiple people. They do their own things, but at points in time, it's like, hey, do you want me
Mm-hmm.
to help you with this? And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that would actually be very helpful. It's
Yeah.
okay. You can work by yourself or you can work as a team. You're given the option. And I'm okay
Mm-hmm.
with that. Like, if I want to help this person out, so be it. It's my choice. But it really does affect people. It's like, wow, this guy actually helped me. It's because I try to help people make lives easier. And and going back to what you were saying, yes, I am. I lived in Arizona. I lived in Nebraska. I lived in Michigan in various times, and in Nevada as well. I've been well, not everywhere, but I've been in some good areas, and I've met various different people of various different backgrounds. It's amazing what you can learn if you step back from your comfort zone and
Yeah.
learn from another person on the other side of that fence.
Yeah.
You learn.
Mm-hmm.
Your horizon becomes more broadened
Yeah.
because you're learning on your own with help from others, and it
Mm-hmm.
helps you become not in like technically
Mm-hmm.
enlightened, but more it adds more to your personality. It's like, how do you know? Like, people ask me, how do you know what to say and when not to say? It's because I've learned from both sides. I've learned the easy way. I've learned the hard way. I've learned to say what's appropriate and when it's not. Everybody helped me along that way, from my parents to my stepdad to my own sister to my friends like you guys, and to
Yeah.
the teachers who were actually teachers and mentors I had at the time, including
Yeah.
close friends and my past relationships. I learned from it all. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I may appear knowledgeable, but this is all on personal experience that I went through. It was
Yeah.
not easy. I can safely tell you it's not easy learning all this shit because you have so much to process, so much to
And
break
also
down.
personal ignorance
It's
as
mind blowing.
well. Yeah.
And
And you
yes,
get past that, it makes you feel better as a person and you learned a thing or two.
but
Because
and it goes back to why I said, like, it's easy to be ignorant. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's not a that is like it's a given. It's
Mm-hmm.
not easy being unignorant because
Yeah.
it can pull you so fast. You're like, whoa, when did I become ignorant to this?
Yeah.
The problem is we have different people trying to tell us how to live our lives in their image, whether it be for good or for bad. But we
Yeah.
see more the negative effect rather than the positive effect that you and I and everybody else grew up with back then
Yeah.
when we had people who actually gave a shit about us and were trying to help us.
Yeah.
We
You
just
ignore
want
them.
to help people.
Yeah. And at broadcast wise, I just want to bring this up because I just want to explain about Mr. Anime and whatnot, Mr. Behavior. Sorry about that. About what he experienced yesterday. Because I wish I can invite like Black Sage in, but he was kind of busy, so I gave him an invite, but he was too busy to probably respond. So he's kind. I don't blame him for taking a break off of Twitter because seriously, it's like a madhouse right there right now. I should probably take a break from it because seriously, bro, it's getting insane. Like they don't know how
That's
to
why I
treat each
push.
other.
That's why I push my YouTube content. Like, hey guys, if you guys want to break from Twitter and all that shit, come over to our channels. Come over, have
To our
fun,
channels, have fun, unbox a
learn
figurine.
something.
My dad gave me an example how to improve the channel. I told him about the podcast. You should try doing some unboxing videos.
Which I
Trust
just
me, I'm
did.
not a big fan of some anime series and whatnot, and I just like to collect things I like to get. But the whole anime figurine thing, some of it's not my thing, but some of it is. If it's my favorite character of mine, I like that's fine.
Which is why I did for Tire Blue Weed. He was upset with how the poll looked, and I did a surprise unboxing just for him, and
Oh,
he literally cried and said thank you, and I'm like, hey, I would love many people got what they voted for, but I made it as a special thing for somebody
okay,
because as
yeah,
Mr. Rogers says, as Mr. Rogers said, just by being you, you can make a difference in a person's life.
exactly.
Where you hand them, like, you help them out with whatever it is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
say, hi, how are you doing? You
Makes their
acknowledge the
day better.
person, and it makes
Yeah.
their day so much better.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Exactly.
easy
Just
to make a
yeah.
person's day better by just saying hi or
Hello.
how are
Yeah.
you. You're showing how
Yeah.
that you care enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How are you? Just
Trust me.
saying, like giving small talk. People are too busy in their mental plantations to even care. Instead of getting cotton, you get like temporarily satisfaction that doesn't last long in your whole damn life. And
Exactly.
it's like all these beta people who are in charge now act like women. Sorry, but it is what it is.
Which is actually hilarious when you first look at it. It's like, ha ha ha! Look at him, he's failing miserably. But
And
when
then,
you
holy
really see
god,
what's really going on, it's scary. It's like,
yeah,
oh my god, what the fuck? When did
this
these
guy
people
probably needs
accumulate
some
power?
help. These guys need some help, man. Like seriously, connections
It's
and
easy to make
networking.
fun of it.
Yeah, but not for long because that might be your boss. That's just why I hope I be owning on my own business one day because I don't want to work under them. They might be cool, some of them, but a lot of their ideology I do not agree with. Like they
Oh,
seriously
trust
like
me, if I ran a website and had multiple people run it with like their various topics,
yeah,
kind of like what Geeks and Gamers does and what a few other people have
Kongfish
done.
TV,
Yeah,
Kongfish TV people.
it's easy to do stuff like that, and which is
Yeah,
why I have moderators on my stream. Is because yeah, I may be busy half the time playing a game or talking, but I have my people as friends as moderators to help me to back me up in case if something goes wrong. If someone
yeah,
gets bullied in a chat, if I don't acknowledge, if I forget to acknowledge it, the moderator right there will handle it. I don't have
yeah.
to worry about that much. But like
Mm-hmm.
I also put disclaimers. That's what I've been doing lately in my videos. It's just been putting disclaimers like, look, this shit is not for kids. If you have a guardian with you, or if it's like you're watching it with your nephew or some shit like that, it's okay. Then you get a pass because you have a responsible adult there. As long as you know not to repeat the stuff like what our parents taught us, like, okay, I'll let you watch this movie, just don't repeat any of the swear words.
Yeah. This is why for the longest time my parents did not let me watch rated R movies because of the swear words and the content inside of them.
But it's also a trust factor too.
Yeah.
My mom and my stepdad, my father at times, they did control what me and my sister did watch. And I understand the reasons as to the whys, because we're not ready for that to handle like graphic shit or watching a fictional character die. We're not ready to handle that yet.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, I can trust you enough to watch this. Just don't repeat the words. I'll be watching it with you. Hence why that's why our parents cover our eyes when we see nudity or a sex scene happening, which we understand. They want to preserve the innocence. I am okay with that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. Because when you look back, it's like, oh, that's why they did that and everything. When you really look back at it, you may think, oh, they're just being overprotective and shit. That is true. Yeah, to a degree, it's true. Yes, they were being protective of us, but for the right reasons. Many people, and there's a difference between being protective and overprotective. You're protective of the kid because you want to maintain their innocence for a little longer until they're ready to understand the real world that's about to happen. It's unavoidable, yes, but if you learn how to build up your kid properly and make them learn and show them, hey, there's going to be multiple bad people in the world who will hurt you no matter what. You can have good people. There are good people as well if you know where to look.
Yeah.
And that's the one lesson I wish that was taught more in households, at schools, and also in friendships as well. The reason why I get along with people and the reason why I don't get along with people is because I do clash with people sometimes because we have different viewpoints. I clash with my boss constantly because he has a different personality that differs from mine. I'm just there to do my job. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm just there to work, go there, spend 6 to 8 hours just doing something that I'm paid to do. That's it. You could tell me like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be done. I tried to do that, but when you set the goal to an unrealistic point, that's when it becomes taxing.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking my boss or anything, but I understand to a point where he is coming from.
Yeah.
Point is, if you don't learn, where are you going to succeed? If everything's just handed to you on a silver plate, would you learn
anything? No.
And that's what's being done. Those fucking celebrities, they had the world handed to them because of their daddies and mommies or what have you.
Yeah.
They don't know how to treat other people like you and me. They just laugh at us.
Yeah.
But there are good celebrities. There used to be good celebrities out there, from Mr. Rogers to Robin Williams, because they respected their fan base and they knew where they came from. They had good upbringings with the right reasons. If we had more of that nowadays, I can guarantee you would see a different world today. Not saying it wouldn't be perfect. I'm not saying it would be perfect, but it would be a bit of a more decent world like it was in the 90s growing up. We had all those amazing mentors and all that.
Mentors, family members, friends. Exactly. Teachers that cared and were cool with us. Yeah, we had. That don't sound like I like old people, but I just want to use this episode to like blow off some steam. No offense. Just want to talk to.
Exactly. I always tell people, I'm like, hey, if you ever want to vent, no matter what time it is, heck, if I don't respond right away, or if I'm like busy, just leave a message. I'll read it and then I'll respond. I will still respond no matter what. Because I get loads of messages every day on Twitter, but I take the time to read each one and respond to it as best as I can. It might take a little bit, but I try to acknowledge everybody as best to my ability.
Yeah.
And I love even my own sister. She vents to me. My own stepdad vents to me. And I'm like, do you feel better now that you vented? They tell me yes.
Yeah.
Because I understand, because and it's also part of learning too, like, hey,
Yeah.
your life may be shitty, but when you really learn from someone else in a different perspective, you learn to be thankful for what
Mhm.
you do have versus what you want.
Yeah.
You and I are
Exactly.
you and me, Omega, we're two very different people. But
Exactly.
we're the same person, but we just have different perspectives. You have a
Yeah.
different upbringing than I do.
Yeah.
And I may be what the media tells you about white people is a load of shit.
Shit. I
A
met those.
load of shit.
You know Voidman that came on the podcast?
Yeah.
I knew him since high school, middle school. I was playing. How I met is how is I already told you the story that I was friends with another kid, and James was as Voidman was started to be friends with this kid, and I saw them, and I said, well, cool, that's Battle Network. I played Battle Network since it's 2002. I was 10 years old, and I want to get back into it till like 2000. I was in middle school, and to the point I was so happy that he gave me a copy of Battle Network 4. And we sometimes he bothers me playing 4, but now I appreciate him the time to the time to play matches on Battle Network 4, but still to this day I'm still friends with him. He's really busy now. He has a different upbringing. He he has his own problems and whatnot, but at least he's still my friend. Man, he even
Exactly.
has his different viewpoints and whatnot. He's like more of the lane of the right wing conservatives and whatnot. And another friend I was cool with in high school, he's like white, conservative, and love guns. Really nice
Precisely.
guy though.
I mean, I'm all for self defense and the Second Amendment and everything. I'm
Yeah.
all for that because I mean, I live with two roommates who are both female who I love very much and I consider
Yeah.
family. I
Mm-hmm.
will fucking defend this house. They can handle themselves. I know for a fact they can handle themselves, but I want to also help protect them as well, and they're
Yeah.
protective of me. It
Mm-hmm.
goes both ways, not
Yeah.
just one way. And I'm still, technically, I'm in a sense, I'm kind of like a man of the house and shit like that. But
Yeah.
I also give them the freedom to do what they want to do as long as they are happy. I just want people to be happy with their lives. I
Yeah.
might give a little push here, like, look, go and do shit. It's like what Cat Williams, the stand-up comedian, said,
Yeah.
and I stand by with this. It's like people need to enjoy their motherfucking lives. Go do shit that makes you happy. That is very true. Go
Exactly.
do shit that makes you happy. Why I collect figurines, why I watch anime, why I play video games, and why I hang out with my sister, my roommates. And my friends too. You all make me fucking happy.
Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. Like I
Do
build
shit that
sometimes.
makes you happy. Go out. If
Exactly.
you want to do a podcast, go do that podcast. You want to meet new people, go and hang out with that person. Go
Yeah.
and do shit that will make you happy no matter what.
Yeah.
People need to learn how to do that.
And
Yeah,
don't mind what
you may
other
have a
people
shitty
think.
life, but what makes you happy? Go
Do it.
find that something that makes you happy. I don't have
Yeah.
to make you happy. Go do shit that makes you happy.
Exactly. Like we need to like people to not care about what other people think and just do things that you enjoy to do. Seriously, the reason why I want to go on Twitter is because on social media because I want to express my hobbies, not engage in politics or fucking drama, man. I don't have no time for that.
I
I
usually
just want
get
to go.
involved in drama if it's like if a person asks me for help. I will happily
Yeah.
drop all my shit just to go help a friend out. I
Yeah.
drop my shit just to take the time out of my day. If they're being bullied, I just like drop all my shit like, "Hey, back the fuck up off my friend. How dare
Yeah.
you attack my friend?"
Yeah.
I defend anybody from this shit.
I see. I
And
see. This whole
and
cyber bullies and whatnot need to go
do
because
I want to do that? I
no.
care, but it shows I care enough to stop whatever I'm doing to go help a friend in need. That's what friends do. They protect each other and they're there. People may think, oh, your friend is just there. You're gonna forget about him 10 to 15 years from now. bull fucking shit.
Yeah.
Look at your friendship. Look at your friendship. I mean, you've known that guy since high school, and look how long you guys remain friends. That's friends for life right there.
Thank you.
And another thing is, I collect anime figures not because because one, it is a hobby, but two, I like to show off my collection.
Yeah.
Am I bragging about it? No. Am I flexing? A little bit.
Yeah.
Just to be funny. I'm just doing it to be funny. Like, have a good laugh. Like, haha, he is flexing his shit. Ha ha ha. But at the end of the day, it's a good laugh feel. Like, oh my goodness, I love his stuff. Where does he get it? And I take the time to explain where I get my stuff from. Yeah. But also, it makes me happy. I'll collect DVDs or mangas just to keep myself going and to be happy. It's part of anime is a part of my life.
Yeah.
Anime is a part of who I am as a person.
Yeah.
It's one aspect of me, but I've come to respect it. It doesn't define who I am. I did that on my own. I define myself based on as a person. I don't give a shit if I'm white. I don't give a shit if I'm Christian or if I'm Republican, Democrat. None of that shit matters. That should not define people. It's the actions and characteristics and how you view things. You're allowed to have your own viewpoint. You're allowed to have that.
Yeah.
Anyone who tells you can't have a viewpoint is fucking ignorant and deserves to be shut out. You're allowed to say what's on your mind. Heck, even if who gives a shit if you offend people? Like, oh, I'm offended. Well, good for you. You're offended. But they go on the defensive. Like, oh my goodness, you hurt my feelings. Bull fucking shit. You chose to come here and listen. If I offend you, that's your own problem, not mine.
Exactly.
And I try to, and basically with my way of thinking, I try to lay it out in simplistic terms. Yeah, it's really big words and everything, but I try and break it down to where it's understandable. It's not that hard. I mean, it's so simple. I'm like, the one thing about me is I'm a very simplistic person. I'll explain shit in more simpler ways. Yeah. And at the end of the day, and I ask them, and I ask people this, not because if I think you're stupid or not. I'm asking, do you understand so far? I get a yes or no answer, and people say no. Can you explain a little more? I'll happily do that. I'll explain a little bit further to where you can understand it. Yeah. It's communication 101. It's simple. You can have a conversation with people no matter the subject, but how you approach that subject is a different story. Basically, like politics, religion, those are hot button issues. Yes, that is true. Mm-hmm. And most people don't like politics because it kind of ruins the mood and shit.
Ruins the mood, and it causes some drama, lots of drama. As you can tell, let me try that. Let me try adding like Black Tea Sage for a minute. For a moment here. So let me see. You can continue talking. I'm just just try to.
Well, let me ask you this, Omega. Based on everything I just said, do you understand where I'm coming from now?
Yes, I do. It's like telling people I believe we have different backgrounds and different society upbringings and whatnot. But if you're going to defend the people, I will sacrifice my own comfort and time to defend that person. Is that it?
That's true. You are correct. And I also give a viewpoint that is easy to understand. I'm not here to alienate people or tell them to think differently. I want the person to think for themselves. I'm just providing some viewpoints from my perspective. I'm not forcing my views on anybody. I never do that. If people think that, well, I apologize you feel that way. I'm not here to alienate you or control your life. I don't do that shit. That is not within my character or who I am all about or what I'm about. Yeah.
We need more people to
help. I'm here to help people become a better person. Like, hey, what's wrong? Why are you sad? Let's talk. Yeah. You can talk about the stuff that makes you feel comfortable. And when you want to open more about it, we can build to that point to where you feel the most comfortable. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, tell me everything. No, I want to break it down to the least important to the most important. People have their comfort zones, and most people gotta keep in mind, people have their own comfort zones. Not many people can
Exactly.
respect that nowadays. They just shit all over it. They kick the fucking door off the hinges like, hi, and ruin the person's life.
Yeah, ruining person's
Which is
lives.
sad.
Yeah, about the opinions on cancel culture. That shit needs to go, man. Because why? Because it's cyberbullying and harassment. Number two, you're just making that person's life miserable because you just want to feel good about social points and whatnot. That's not how
Also,
you do perform justice. Yeah.
but the number one question people should be asking themselves, and I hate cancel culture as much as the next person. I find it fucking stupid. But the point is, people do not take the time to ask them this number one question:
Yeah.
is this really worth my time to be bitching about? Does this affect?
No.
How does this affect me? So what?
Yeah.
This guy. So what if this guy believes in Scientology? So what if So what if the female? If this girl is a devout Christian? Who gives a shit? Who is this really worth my time? How does this offend me? They don't ask these questions at all. They just jump in on the hate train and ruin that person's life.
For clout.
Exactly. They don't take the time to think about it. Like, oh, I'm just offended just to be offended. That's it. As you nailed it on the head with the fake hate. That is true. It's fake hate. You don't have you're faking your hatred for this person because you don't know how to combat it or how to process it. You just want to hate just to hate and get the amazing brownie points or a high five from an SJW rainbow haired person.
I call him
That's
anime
not how it
hair.
is.
I call him. I call him anime hair
But you get
because
my point.
yes, I do, dude. I just like this dude that claims to be talking to autistic and PTSD people and whatnot. And I said to them about, as an autistic person, why should I care? PTSD and autism lasted forever, but they found different ways to confront it and confront it over the years. Even some bad, some good. But as an autistic person, why I'm taking advice from a person who has anime colored hair.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And PTSD, I've known many people who have that. It's not just because of military, it could be also from bad experiences. Like, I've known people who survived gang wars, from abusive homes, abusive relationships. PTSD comes in many forms besides the military.
Yeah.
Military is one thing, but PTSD comes from many factors. You just hear it from the one thing, which is bullshit, because it's like, oh, and war is horrible. I will admit that. War is horrible. I'm a man for peace. I want to have good relations with other countries. Why are we fighting? Why are we butting in other people's businesses? Let the countries handle that themselves. Why the fuck do we even have to intervene? It's not our problem. That's the same thing with like butting into someone else's. Like, oh, I have PTSD because of this. Well, talk about it. What caused it? Let's get to the bottom of this. Or people with autism. It's horrifying, believe me. I'm sad when a person says they're autistic, and I actually sit down with people and I'm like, okay, what do you want to talk about? What led to this? You can approach it. You can talk about it however you wish, which makes you feel comfortable. I want to make sure the person feels comfortable enough to tell me. It's like, look, and I tell them, look, I always tell my friends and my family members, look, you can tell me anything. We're here. You can tell me anything. I would not judge you. I want to hear it from you. And you tell me you have autism, and I listen. Like, hey, what's going on? What caused this? You're free to express. You're free to explain it how you wish. Not many people can do that, because many people are so uncomfortable about it, which I understand, but they get very defensive when it's not even justified. They get defensive for no reason. It's like, look, I'm not here to attack you. I'm not here to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm here because I give a shit enough to listen. Like, what's going on? Why are you depressed? Let's talk about this.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, anything last words you want to say before we stop? Because my throat's getting kind of dry from all the talking. So,
I
and
know,
plus it's like
but it
10:32 p.m. and whatnot.
oh boy. So to anybody who's been watching this wonderful podcast, this stream, I hope you all have learned something today, not just from me, but from Omega and
Mr. Behavior.
Mr. Behavior. Now,
Yeah,
I understand that this is all to take in, and I hope that we at least made you become more aware of shit. We're not
yeah,
here to dictate your life. We're not here to do that. We're not here to say no, you're wrong. We can disagree in respectful manners. It's like,
yeah,
okay, why do you disagree? Go ahead, you can tell us. We give you the floor to say what you have to say, and we'll listen. We're not going to do what cancel culture is doing. We're not doing that shit. We're
nope,
here to help you no matter what, and also provide you good entertainment, something to laugh, to get you away from the real world bullshit that's been happening lately. That's what
yeah,
we're here to do. That's what
yeah,
Omega does. That's what I do. We're here to provide you entertainment, just even if it's for like 5 minutes to 2 hours.
yeah,
We get you away from the world that pisses you off. It's like, here,
yeah,
come vent to us. Let us handle it, and we'll
yeah.
help you. We can help you any way we can and offer
Mhm,
you the advice.
uh-huh,
It may not be the best,
mhm.
but you cared enough to listen.
Yeah.
But that's all
Thank
I
you.
really have to say.
I really appreciate it, and thank you, Mr. Anime, for taking your time on this podcast. And as an autistic person, let me tell you, it's really difficult to get out of my comfort zone doing this and talking with people and socializing. And you don't
And
wonder why I stutter so
that's
much?
perfectly natural. It's
Yeah,
perfectly natural.
yeah, yeah. You wonder why I stutter so much because it's due to nervousness and whatnot. I tend to take stuff in one take. I don't like taking multiple takes. And anyways, people, I appreciate you coming on, even with just this one person. It really means a lot. And if you came across this video, please feel free to share this video, like the video. Don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button and that blue bell beside it so you can get notifications on videos, live streams, and gameplay videos. Uh, uh, Live stream gameplay podcast episodes. So that's all to say for now. And I want to talk more, but my throat's getting dry and it's getting late where I'm at. I hope you enjoy this podcast. And one more thing, I usually don't want to talk about politics and whatnot and personal stuff, but just let's be clear. I just want to get this out of my chest because it's been bothering me for since a day or two.
Go ahead.
And then I'm just like getting sick and tired of this. And I want to get this out of my brain because I don't want to sit in there and affecting my damn life. I want to move on. And yet we got all these beta males that didn't have a father in the home, so that's why our entertainment sucks because the man is weak and the women are pathetic. There's some great women out there. Give a shout out to them too, but really, broken homes are becoming much more problematic, which is a problem now because they don't got morals and values in their homes. And Mad Matt, thanks for the stream, my friend. Glad you didn't leave the stream. I really appreciate you coming by today. I really appreciate it. And that's all to say for now. Sayonara.